Young Faust, you tripping on them motherfucker.
Richard Heart. Richard Heart.
Bought my HEX from the fucking start. .1 every day we mark. Bought my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Checking my MetaMask moving. Look at the HEX is mooning. Looking at wives they be choosing. Peter is what they be losing. Pro chains out and they'll get me a check. Heath gas up and it got me a mess. Remember the times he died collect. HEX I been eating, I'm dying in the best. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Getting this back like a year ago. Getting this post, I ain't letting go. Swerving the ring like a Lambo. Bought my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Bought my HEX from the fucking start. Sacrificing all this bread like I'm Richard Hart. Got paid on big payday and I had a hit restart. Now I'm checking on my pulse just to check my heart. Richard Hart.
Yo, what's up, you wreck plebs? Let's go, baby! Yeah, I can do opera too. I'm multifaceted. Guys, GRC here. We got a panel on today. I'm not going to throw my glasses. I was about to throw them. Guys, we have a crazy panel on today. Vibes are just like, disgustingly amazing today, guys. The vibes I've been feeling since the seconds my eyes cracked open were divinely inspired. And I truthfully believe that. So, guys, what's going on here is not by accident. Even the people I'm bringing on, the reason I'm meeting them, not by accident. This is not a game, guys. Put your moon boots on. HEX is going parabolic. Guys,
what's good? Awesome intro, DRC. What's good? Let's get some gums out here. How is everybody? How is everybody doing? This is an awesome, yes. Ooh, we should do it. Let's just do this shirtless.
Here we go.
Hell yeah. Oh, I was glad I got on here and I was like, oh, Tangent and Jay are on here. Sweet, this is going to be good. How are you guys doing this morning? You're GRC, you're muted.
I want you to say what's up, guys. We just had a flex off. I got sweaty. I'm going to go grab my other shirt. Sam, what's going on this morning? How's everything going, guys? Tangent, J Money, we're shirtless. This channel's going parabolic. HEX is going parabolic. I can't sleep straight. Guys, how's everyone doing?
I want one of those cameras that just like fucking. I'm not saying that you guys are using that. I'm just saying I need it. I need it to be able to compete against you guys. I need like one of those cameras that just like.
Dude, you have a good shape. I can tell.
Blows your shit up.
Work out.
I am lean. I am really lean.
I can tell you guys both work out, to be honest.
You and Jay are both really lean.
Which is half the battle, right, Sam? That's half the battle.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what's lean. This HEX rocket ship, low wind resistance, low mass, just like
must build
shit,
it.
Like this. Wait,
High,
kind of like
power to weight ratio is just off the charts. That's why it can go vertical like that.
Sam, can you take a peek at this?
Shit.
This is not what the chart looked like when I onboarded Sam. I want everyone to know that. But I'm not saying this is the end pump, guys. We're all just having a good time here. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't think it's going to 54 cents and above just because we're excited about the pump, guys. It's not the case. But this does show you something. And Tangent, talk a little bit about this shape. You don't see this much often when, other than in HEX, in a bear market, a nice parabolic shape like that is just odd.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. I like the fact that it's not as violently straight up as some of the previous pumps that were unable to be sustained. You know, like, look, this is still parabolic, but at least it's been sustained for a number of hours now. like quite a few hours. Whereas the last time we had a pump of this magnitude, it literally just went up in like a couple of hours and then just crashed back down again, you know?
That was the 14-cent pump 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Yeah, that's right.
And that could have been the
Is that when you onboarded? Is that what GRC was just saying?
Either right before then or right after then. It was right about that time. I got in below the peak of that, but right around that time.
So, guys, we wanted to talk about real quick. I'm gonna change the subject, guys. We all know Hex is going moon rocket ship forever. That's just the facts, okay? I'll get my spreadsheet out later, but that's occurring. So, so let's talk about something that's a little bit different this morning. And Jay opened my mind to this, so I'll let him go first. And I know you guys will have just rock solid shit to say on this right after he goes. How do you avoid negativity in a world that there is so much negativity? Right. And I want to talk about that first before we get in, because I was thinking about it and Jay was bringing up some insightful stuff and I was just pondering and I was like, there's negativity everywhere, but you have to choose to get away from it. Right. And then when you choose to get away from it, everyone looks at you and says, you're being different and weird. It's like, I decided I want no longer. Right. I just quit. I quit the whole drama scene. I quit the whole politics scene. I was just like, I'm going to just focus on what's in front of me. And that's it. Ever since then, my life has transformed 100%. I mean, it's just undescribable. And this has only been weeks, like 5 or 6 weeks. I want you to talk about like between your family, friends, people entering your bubble. Some you have no choice, right? I mean, you have a choice, but like a little bit. You want to be nice as well.
Maybe.
But Sam, I'm a young man, so I don't know what you're. So when you say your piece, say that.
Well, let's go to Hugh Hefner first. We have the former Jay Future, and he has converted to Hugh Hefner. Go ahead,
They call me
sir.
Jay Daddy now.
I saw the nightgown. Yes, pimping. Love the purple color as well.
Yes. Morning tea to you lads as well.
Straight
That's tea, all right.
Morning scotch.
Now you see me. Now you don't.
Wait, no. So for reference, Tangent lives 12 hours opposite of our time zone.
That's right.
My time zone. I don't know their time zones.
Yeah, so I could be drinking.
Yeah, he could be drinking
Like, legally,
in a classy way.
Australia restricts when you can drink too, huh? Sounds fun. Sounds like a great time. When can I go?
We're probably close to that.
So, Jay
They
Daddy,
can't smoke weed down there, you know, or they go to jail. It's like, what?
This is crazy shit.
He told me that yesterday, and I was like, no, you're kidding. Like, they put you away?
They do that in the U.S. too, dude.
I know.
If you're the wrong color. So what's the?
Very
So
good.
what are we talking about?
How do you
How do you avoid negativity?
How do you avoid negativity? Okay, so like,
How do you stay positive?
and I like to think about like the martial arts example, right? Because I'm a martial artist, and it's like, how do you avoid a fight? Well, you don't get in the fight. How many fights have I been in? None. That's how good I am. I haven't been in any fights. That's why. If you're good at martial arts, you never get in fights. I know you're laughing, but there's some truth to what I'm saying.
Diplomacy first.
Okay,
For
so
reference, he's 100% right. I mean,
so in terms of like avoiding the negativity, like what's the most powerful thing? The most powerful like person energetically is the person that can spot the negativity, the most negative person in the room, and put a smile on their face.
that's a good point too. That was a great point. And your mic is just like 12% too high, and it's just blasting.
Okay, I'll fix it.
It's blasting.
How's mine at?
Yours sounds really good, and Sam's yours sounds pretty good, a little high. But just know when we're talking, you can talk really monotone. I know it's hard when getting a point across because you're such a passionate person. But yeah, and Jay always brings things back to martial arts right away. He practices Tai Chi. I don't want to say the wrong ones.
Yeah, Tai Chi, you're right. Tai Chi.
Yeah.
I did it this morning. You know, it's the balance, right? It's like the thing. Everybody's got their core practice. You know, we had Sam come in our Telegram and he's running, right? So, okay, he jogs. I start with the mellow. I like to start with the Tai Chi, because it's an intuition practice. And I don't even start with Tai Chi, actually. It's deeper than that. It starts with me standing. And it's like, how am I feeling, though? You know, what do I need today? It's usually Tai Chi, but it's not Tai Chi every day, right?
You say Tai Chi is that because
I like to pronounce things in their original language.
Okay, so it's like the most original form of enunciation of it.
So I'll say it in Mandarin, Tai Chi Chen. And then some dumbass wrote it as, you know, Taichi. It's the Wade Giles. That's I could go into it if you want.
How many languages have you learned? This guy is crazy, by the way.
More than I'll admit. Yeah,
like this dude he could throw him in any country and he would just be chilling in the middle of the square with a beer. chatting with everyone. Like literally.
Oh, the cup of tea.
Yeah.
So let's go into that a little bit further of like how do you, right? Because everybody's in a different spot in their journey in life.
That's right.
And the immunity from negativity, or like another way of looking at it, how I see it is the like immunity of like a cold. So if you have a very strong immune system, even if somebody's sick near you, you don't get sick, right? So there's people who are negative around you, and you don't need to suck in that energy and be sick from it. So
so the other way to look at it is that you're affecting them. They're sick, you're even sicker. Like there's all different ways to look at it. You know what I mean? Like you're so sick with positivity that they catch you.
Yes, and I get those. I get those messages. I'm not trying to say anything like special, but like it is nice to see those messages where you know, hey, because of the shit you're saying, or because like I was in a really bad spot and now I'm in like a better spot because I've been paying attention. Like it's a beautiful thing. Tangent. What is your thing that like helps you stay focused on being positive and like looking in the right direction towards your goals and stuff?
I go with the Eckhart Tolle, accept what is and just stay in the moment, so that you can't be like, as in you just like the thing I say is the universe doesn't make mistakes. So then you don't like stress out about things that and especially things you can't control. You definitely don't stress about that stuff. And then within that small set of things that you can control, you do what you can, and just stay in the moment while you do it as much as possible. It's like it's easier said than done, obviously.
I got one thing
that philosophy
experience though, because how many times have you been not smacked around physically, but in the washer of life, you know, like we've all gotten kicked in the nuts when we trusted someone. We've all gotten, come on, that's just how it works in this world. But I wanted to say the one thing about you, Sam, the one thing you were saying, when people are sending you those messages, don't take it as a thank you. Take it as a sign that you're doing the right thing. You're doing, when someone messages you and says thank you, I don't even think like, oh, sick, I helped that guy. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah, I'm going the right way. I'm going in the right direction, because BitBoy is not getting love mail. He's getting death threats.
Far out.
And that's facts, though. Like, it's fucking facts. It's crazy. And he has changed up his shit. I don't want to bring his agenda into this, because he has tried to change it. He's maybe trying some different things. Everyone knows paid shills exist. There's a joke. There's a clown at every carnival, right? Like, it's just the way it is. You don't have to point him out and call him a loser, or you're just going to look like you're weak. And that's one thing Jay has also been teaching me. Well, not all the time, but sometimes
it depends.
Be a little bit more, pay attention before I open my damn mouth.
It's like, are you Sun Tzu or are you Siddhartha?
So
you got to decide, right?
That living in that, I think I mentioned it briefly the other day, and I don't know if Eckhart Tolle talks about this, but I feel like he does, or there's this another person that wrote a book about it. It was like Peak. It's a researcher, and she talks about the three places we spend, the majority of humans spend most of their time, and it's not in the now. What Tangent was saying, it's in the past, thinking about things that have happened or that you've done or that you thought about differently. Like, oh, I didn't focus on getting this done, I didn't accomplish that. Another is thinking about in the future, right? Oh, I got to have this difficult conversation. My boss is coming up, and the performance thing is coming up, this, that, and the other thing, or this weekend, right? Some people think about that kind of stuff. So you spend a lot of time in the past, a lot of time in the future, or in other people's minds, giving a fuck about what they think about how you live your life. And what you said about living in the now is like, you don't have problems in the now. You're like, oh, how am I going to pay my bills? Well, if you live right now in this moment, those bills don't matter. They do matter, but you take care of what you need to take care of today. Then that will allow you to have the financial resources to pay your bills. That will allow you to go ahead.
The Eckhart Tolle quote is, there's no such thing as problems, only situations to be dealt with now or to be left till later.
Wow. That's so true too. That's how I think about stuff. I'm like, okay, can I get my rental car shit? They said it was Monday. Okay, I'll just wait till Monday. Like, I could bitch about it to every agent on there. And I did. I told a few to quit their jobs. I did.
Another quote that I absolutely love, that is not an Eckhart Tolle quote, but it's on this same vein, is As an old man, I've known a great many worries. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but like only a few of them ever came to fruition. It's like the amount of shit that humans worry about compared to the actual bad shit that actually ends up happening is just disproportionately large. So if you just eject all that noise and go, I will worry about shit when it actually happens. Like
I worried about my whole childhood that I was not going to have friends because I was shorter. That's literally what I worried about until I was like 16. Like I was like, oh, I'm short and cool guys are tall. So like my life sucks. I literally thought that like that because I was an athlete, and that's kind of like in your weird athletic, like superficial world. It's like the 6'4" athlete. He is the middle linebacker. He is getting fucked by the hottest chick. Sorry. And that's a reality you take young, right? And it doesn't matter if you're really cool, a little bit cool, or a nerd. Everyone thinks about the social pecking order. It's just life. Like you can't help it. But there's things nobody was telling me. Like, I guess everyone was saying the right things, but it took time for me to realize, and it still does. Nothing matters. Nobody cares about you. Nothing matters. Nobody cares about you. Like, that's my whole thing. I just like to live like that. I like to just think like, this is my video game, and I just want to do what I want. Like,
I think
Eckhart says to live life like it's a video game because it's all optional. You get to choose what you do and where you go and that sort of thing, just like a video game, and you can choose to not play it. Like you can always choose to not play. It's I think it's quite powerful notion, like a powerful idea, that thinking of life like a computer game.
I heard I was listening to I went and grabbed a ladder because I'm doing some work stuff in my house. And yesterday I'm on the way home and I'm listening to this podcast, and this guy is talking about Jesus, right? And I'm not religious, and it's not a religious podcast. It's a business podcast. And he's talking about how he's been getting into religious, it's specifically related to Christianity, and how they promote praying. And when you think about what is praying in the basic sense, well, first of all, let's put context, right? You know what the placebo effect is, right? So the placebo effect, right? It's like, hey, here's a sugar pill, and here's the real thing. You don't know which one you have, and you get a result 30 days later, and we're like, okay, cool, you took a sugar pill, right? That's how powerful our mind is. Well, think of what prayers are in the most basic sense. It's a affirmation. Hey, what was I thankful for today, right? Hey, people say prayers at lunch or dinner, right? Hey, I'm thankful for this food that God provided, right? Something along those lines. Hey, I look forward to a beautiful afternoon, or I look forward to spending this time with the family members or whoever I'm at lunch with. You know, and then what do you pray about, like when you're concerned about something? Hey, I pray that I have and I'm not praying, I don't pray, like I don't remember honestly the last time I do pray, just from what I remember. Hey, I pray that this issue, right, whatever problem is going to be solved in a way that is beneficial, where I can learn and grow through the process, whatever people are praying, right? And then what is the prayer in essence, whether you believe in God or don't believe in God? It's an affirmation. You're creating the placebo effect by praying. That's why those things are so, I don't know, like, yes, I believe there's something, right, a bigger energy or whatever it is, but in essence, these religions that are putting forth these for people to pray every day and these kinds of things, in a way, it's telling people to do the right thing for their life by creating an affirmation, like looking for things that you're thankful for in your life, right? Looking for ways you're just putting that in terms of prayer, whatever fucking story you need to tell yourself.
When does that pass value? You know, like no, I'm not saying to not do it moving forward as a practice. That would be silly. I don't disagree with that. When people start thinking socially that
GRC,
yeah,
you'll love this, because I signed up for a gym ages ago, and one of the things they said you had to do if you're a member of this gym is every night you do a gratitude log and also a brain dump. So you write down the things that are on your mind, so that you can put them down and stop thinking about them when you go to sleep, because you know they're written down. You don't have to keep thinking about them, because if you want to pick it up the next morning, you can just read the list. Not that you're going to forget them anyway, but it's like a psychological trick. And the gratitude log. And the purpose of that gratitude log, just 3 small things that you appreciate from that day, or broadly, more generally. And it starts to recalibrate your mindset of how you see the world in a more positive light. You start to notice little things that are amazing about things. So you're effectively like reframing everything more positively.
How
because
do you
you're training yourself to see the good in the world and the good parts of your day rather than focusing on negatives.
I always bring it back to that though, but people that take action always do that, even if it's subconscious. That's the whole thing where some like
yes. So some people get lucky and the way they operate is already in that, but for everyone else, you kind of have to turn it into a habit.
I know, but you're right. You're right. Maybe I don't know what that's like.
Correct. Listen, what Tangent was saying is 100% true. Literally, so I journal every day. This is from yesterday. Literally, so it's got a page and a half here, right? The first sentence, wow, my life is amazing. So what Tangent's saying is you tell a random person to fucking do this, right? You're like, journal about something that's like good in your life or that you're having issues with and really like dive in. Why are you telling yourself that this is an issue? Why did you choose to create this issue? Why are you choosing to create the emotions associated with this issue? Do you like creating those, right? And by literally going through, they're like, I don't have anything to be grateful through, or my life sucks right now. Like I work 2 jobs, I can barely pay my bills. I'm fat. I don't have a relationship, etc., etc. But what Tangent is saying, and it works 100%. So you do this, and you're like, damn, I'm gonna write down 3 things that I'm thankful for. At the end of the first 10, you're like, wow, I don't have anything to be thankful for.
Does it transform you, or people that want to transform do it? That's what I want to know. Stop for a second. Stop. Is it because everyone I know that does that was bawling before and like excited, and I haven't yet to see. Well, maybe that's not true because I don't know everyone. People that were going to be kind of successful realized that you have to write shit down and pray. That's what I realized. I was going to be successful anyway, but I realized if I don't chill the fuck out and I lose my shit, and I don't, because I had self-hatred my whole life. I know what self-hatred feels like. My entire childhood was filled with self-hatred. And I don't want to say it's any reason of anyone else's. My parents were amazing. I had some problems for whatever fucking reason. I couldn't do shit right. So like I had to fight my whole life to get out of that. And it just seems like if you want to change, you have to do it that way. You can do it other ways.
So can the chat just stop trolling for like 2 seconds? You guys are so annoying. Just stop trolling. Fuck off. You don't have to watch this.
Yeah. Eckhart says they want crypto talk, eh?
You guys want, that's so nice though. I feel good about that, but we'll get to that later. I feel like I'm an actual resource for crypto, which is
no, we're gonna talk about whatever we want to talk about, and the chat can fuck off.
And I agree with that statement 100%. Guys, we'll get to crypto later though for sure, but we're talking right now because Jay's gonna be on here for an hour, and we like to have insightful conversations with Jay. Okay.
Eckhart talks about like that turning point, right? Like in people's lives, and he said some people just, it's like a sudden thing, like so from you maybe Jimrat, that it happens suddenly where you're just at a point in your life where you're like, fuck that noise, I'm just going to do it differently. And some people it's like a gradual process that takes like a lot of time and effort, and you have to work towards whatever that change is. So this is just a good tool for reframing your mindset to positivity.
For sure. I mean, it's just facts. We all know it. Like when you write that stuff down, though, it's so powerful. It's so powerful. When I have a Joe Rogan interview on my schedule. I have a Mr. Hart interview on my schedule. They don't know about him yet. No, I'm not kidding.
I love it. No, I love it.
But like, I'm
laughing.
The Richard's happening this year, and the Joe Rogan's a year and a half from now after the year ends. So that stuff might fail forever, but every time I write stuff down, guys, I look back and I'm like, damn, I wrote that down. So and I'm not saying I'm going to do those two things. You know, obviously life has factors. Joe Rogan could get shot in the face or something crazy, but that would be horrible. I don't know why I said that.
Jay is still waiting to talk.
Please, Jay, say something insightful and amazing.
I don't like have anything to say really.
Why?
I don't know. I'm going to click private chat so I don't see the comments anymore so it doesn't affect me. That's the first step, right? It's like, oh, I'm annoyed by the comments. Okay. I'm in charge of my mental state. So what do? I click private chat. I don't see the comments anymore.
This is so meta. This is
like,
perfect.
That's it. Like, that's my wisdom, right? Is like, oh, like I'm annoyed. Okay. Then I just get rid of the thing that's annoying. It's not that hard.
But Jay, that's
took one click, dude. Now I feel great. I can't see the stupid comments.
But that's exactly it.
This is why I don't live stream.
Yeah, Jay says this every night. He doesn't do this for a reason.
Yeah. It's like it's not.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
He doesn't like giving people the opportunity to say dumb shit.
Well, so it's like, so this is my thought. This is my thought. That talk is cheap, right? Talk is cheap. So you look at people's actions, right? You learn way more about people's actions than you do about their talk, right? So
it doesn't. It's like don't do as I say. Watch what I do, and you're gonna
exactly.
learn way more. Like
definitely.
The actions.
You guys will like this gym one. Don't spot me, watch me.
Fuck yeah,
it's like a life. How good is that?
I'm gonna use that,
one.
dude. Because sometimes at the climbing gym, people try to like give you like they try to tell you how to climb it. And
yes.
I mean, next time that's what I'm gonna say. I'll be like, just watch.
Don't spot me, watch me.
Dude, you know, there's some legendary rock climbing right by. I don't want to say that because that'll dox me.
That's right.
Oh,
okay,
yeah,
now he's learning.
Whoa,
he's learning. I like this. Okay.
I rock climb.
Come on, that's good.
That deserves a clap right there.
I haven't done it for a while. Yeah, good catching yourself. I haven't done it for a while actually, but I used to rock climb quite a lot. Like
Tangent, if you didn't know this, these two also rock climb. Jay does it often. GRC used to do it relatively often.
I did like a 2-year, that's all I do. And then I kind of fizzled out. But Jay's been more like a steady roller. Like he can set up and go, it seems like, and has buddies that'll do that with him, I assume.
So just to clarify, so you guys don't think I'm more hardcore than I actually am, my climbing started off with like what they call high ropes, where you're just climbing up a wall, but you actually have a harness, but it's indoor. So it's like fake rocks. So, and then you just climb by colors for the different difficulties. And then we sort of transitioned over to bouldering, where you don't have ropes, but you're never that high off the ground. So like 4 meters max, which sounds like a big drop, but remember that's 4 meters would be like your highest handhold. So if you're like me and you're almost 2 meters tall, like the most you're going to drop from in terms of your foot to the ground is like a 2 meter drop. And they've got really fat but firm mats
bouldering
below.
We call that bouldering.
So bouldering is just like climbing no ropes. Yeah.
No ropes, yeah. Unless you're free climbing, and that's doing like a legit thing without ropes, which is scary.
Okay, hold on.
That's
everybody gets this wrong. Let me just real quick.
Love
Just the terminology. I'm a terminology guy. Okay, so there are many different kinds of climbing, right? This is why I need my whiteboard. I ordered it today. I'll bring the whiteboard next time. So all climbing, right? It splits, right? Aid climbing and free climbing. Okay. Aid climbing is what? Aid climbing is the original climbing because it was really hard. So they put pitons in the rock, right? That's called aid. They used other things besides their hands and their feet to climb. That's called aid climbing. Okay, free climbing. Free climbing is not the opposite of aid climbing. That means it's just your hands and your feet, okay? Whenever I say free climbing, everybody thinks I'm talking about free soloing. Okay, free soloing is within free climbing. Okay, but not all free climbing is free soloing. Free soloing, like there's nothing more badass than free soloing. Free soloing is if you fall, you die.
If you fall, you die.
You boulder, but with no crash pad, and you'll climb the same stuff that people climb with ropes, but with nothing. But chalk.
So technically, by that definition, all the climbing I've been doing is free climbing.
That's correct.
I've had safety equipment.
Yeah. If you've used aid equipment, so you've like pulled up on a ladder, like there's a lot of different kinds of stuff, right? That's aid climbing. When you're pulling on equipment, you're not pulling on the rock. You're pulling on equipment.
You guys obviously seen that video of that guy that free soloed the
Alex Honnold.
That's the guy, yeah.
But that's the whole thing. Like climbing is so diverse, is that people don't realize that Alex Honnold, like in terms of strength, like how hard he climbs, he's not even top 10 in the United States. Because why? Because his specialty is free soloing. Like that's what he free solos. He doesn't climb the hardest climbs possible. We got Adam Andra, we got Chris Sharma. Those people climb the hardest physical things, like the hardest rock climbs ever. Those guys climb those. Alex Honnold, that's not his thing. He free solo.
Because that would be too dangerous, right? If you're free soloing that shit, you're basically dead. Like it would be
Alex Honnold, if he keeps free soloing, then he'll die free soloing. There's a 100% chance. The first person that got the first famous free soloer, I forget his name, but of course he died free soloing at age 50. You know what I mean? If you keep doing it, you'll die doing it. Like, because why? Because rocks come out, dude. Like, it's not about skill only. Sometimes the rock comes off. It's happened to me, yo.
Good point.
The biggest rock I ever pulled out was like the size of my chest, dude. It would have killed my belayer. Literally, it would have killed my belayer and me, because once the belayer's dead, now you're stuck.
Last time I rock climbed,
It's real shit.
I fell 20 feet and smashed my foot on a bank 160 feet up, roughly. So I was up 180 feet, and then it was like a climb over and then climb up. You know, it was like a bank, and you get to set your feet, and then you go back. But I fell like close up, and then I fell off the bank too, and I smashed my foot. And my belayer was hardly. It was an easy ass climb, dude. It was the easiest fucking climb ever.
But that's always where the injuries happen. It's weird. Like the easy climbs,
because you're not concentrating. Like
but also the easy climbs, they're featured. There's all kinds of shit, which means that if you fall, there's stuff to hit. If it's a really hard climb, a 512, there's nothing to hit. All the holds are tiny. When you fall, there's no danger. The danger with the hard climbs are the overuse injuries, which are actually much more prevalent than any kind of falling injuries, in my opinion. I've never been injured falling. I've only been injured from overuse, right? Like I'm not talking about my health. That would be bad OPSEC. But you know what I mean? Are we going to talk about the single site staking pool? All right, Should we switch to that?
I'm down.
Because now I can't avoid it. It's right here. I got rid of the comments, but it's right here. It's right in my face. All right, let's talk about it. Fuck.
Sam, have you played with the single side staking pool?
Is he talking about single asset or single?
I think.
Wait, break it down before you guys get confusing. I need you to break down what you're saying because I cannot get lost in the first 20 minutes again.
So yesterday, Tangent was sharing some experience with liquidity pool providing, and he was doing 2 stable coins. Because if you think about the risk associated with pairs liquidity providing, there's the risk that one of them moves drastically, right? And then you lose some of that as the price goes up because the ratio changes for the AMM, which is GRC. There's just like the formula is basically X times Y equals K. So if K stays the same.
So what's the question though? Like between that, like are they asking us when they say single side?
So go ahead, Jeff.
Can I just super quick clarify something that I heard you? I rewatched a bit of the stream yesterday, and you guys were talking about the LPs and stuff. And I wish I had been paying more attention. I think I was checking messages from some chick or something. A really, really simple way to explain it is when you're an LP, it's equivalent of being a market maker in the legacy books. So you're effectively providing the buy and sell liquidity for other people to execute orders. And for that, you get fees. So if you want to be the market maker, and then there's risks associated with that, like impermanent loss and etc. But the idea is that with DeFi, sometimes because the incentive, the fees that you would earn for providing liquidity aren't really enough to get people wet for it. So they add an incentive token. So then you put your LP in and then you stake your LP and then they give you an added incentive token. So you're earning fees and an incentive, and that incentive token is like manual.
I want to know one thing about the incentive token before we move on, if anyone knows this. Are there pumpamentals on the incentive token?
It depends on the project. So that's different.
No, on ours.
On ours.
They haven't shared. He hasn't. Well, I'm reading off the website.
All we've gotten, correct me if I'm wrong, but all we've gotten is screenshots. Right? There's been no proposal really where Richard Hart has been like, here's the incentive token. He hasn't really announced it. He sent screenshots if you want to count that as an announcement, but he's never, he explained the pumpamentals of HEX way before it came out, right? So he hasn't explained any pumpamentals yet. I'm sure they'll be there, but he hasn't explained them. So it's all just speculation.
Richard Hart acknowledged Hedron this morning in the talk space.
That's right. Let's talk about that.
Let me mention my experience with that, and then you guys extrapolate.
Yeah.
So,
just the last thing is that then a staking pool is effectively, think of what I just said about the liquidity pools, but then you're not earning fees. So you get incentive token only. That's it.
Okay.
And there's I'm sorry.
Single asset.
It's because of the tokenomics of Pulse X. It's not inflationary, so there'll be no more Pulse X produced, right? So you can't. How could you have a staking income, right? Where does the Pulse X come from? It doesn't. It's deflationary. There's less Pulse X over time. There's not more. There's less.
So when something's inflationary rather than deflationary, it automatically, by definition, has to have a different way of providing liquidity. No.
It just means it makes it difficult to distribute rewards or incentives in that token.
Right.
If where do you get it from? Like, is
Yeah, it has to come from somewhere.
If you want to like make money as a liquidity, you get it from the people who are trading, right? So you're just like, I'm going to take a little bit of this transaction.
You make money off the volume. The volume is your friend. High volume, high pay. Low volume.
You're basically so do you want to be Coinbase? Do you want to earn those fees?
Exactly.
Or what Tangent was saying, and I think there's probably, I would guess there's different projects depending on how it's set up. But like PulseX, if there's a stability pool, the economics behind that is you're not going to get more PulseX unless somebody's like losing it in some fashion because there's no inflation to it. But other projects, like you might earn a stable coin, or you might get, other coins from that or something. I would think that it's probably set up that way. I don't know for sure, but you guys have more experience on that. I would guess.
So in some ways, HEX almost is like a single asset staking pool, where for anyone who stakes it, you get paid an incentive token in the same token through the inflation. And the main difference is that the lock is real. That with most single asset staking pools, you can just pull that shit out whenever you want. Whereas with HEX, you cannot.
It's all coming together. It's all coming together, dudes. I love this fucking shit. There's so much good stuff. Go ahead.
So I was talking to Jay this morning, and he was sharing some really great information. Thank you for that. I am refinancing this, and we had talked about this, Jay, this morning. And since that conversation, while I was finishing my workout, I was like, wait, instead of using LP to pay the mortgage, what I could do is use HEX on a monthly stake. And then, right, because a lot of people, I just don't know to be like, this is for sure, right? Yeah, but a lot of people believe HEX is like the best kind of crypto,
it's not the best, though. It's the most smart people. We want the long-term, good-ass, solid, fucking great.
Yeah. I want to kind of attack this strategy of Sam's, though, because what you're saying is that you need a steady amount every month to pay off a mortgage. Do I understand that correctly?
Yes, sir.
Okay, HEX is not good for that.
Yeah.
In which way?
Because of the volatility, you're not going to get a steady payment. Even the gas fees vary. You know what I mean? Every part of it varies. So why that doesn't work at all, in my opinion.
If you have enough money.
So Sam, what I would do if I were you, is I would use stable coin income. Why? Because it's steady. And that's what you need. You need something steady. So you need a steady answer. All right, what's the steady solution? Definitely isn't HEX. HEX isn't steady.
So Tangent, can you had mentioned, because I completely agree with that, with the stability. Like you would have to have enough margin where, so say if you put in 100K, you'd have to, in that month, say before the payment's due, you do a 1 month stake with HEX. Say if you earned 1.5% during that month on $100,000, you earned $1,500. That $1,500, if price comes down by 50%, you still have enough in there to be able to pull out and pay your mortgage on that.
Yeah, it's just
opportunity cost. All I see is opportunity cost, though, with all this, Jay. You know what I mean? That's what he was saying this morning, the same thing. Jay was kind of explaining this to me. He's like, dude, you could make like 6 times more if you just chilled out for a minute and just put it all into HEX and work doing something else where the fiat just comes out. Because you don't, HEX $2 is not smooth. It's not. Let's be real. I mean, it can be if you're really good, but to do all that, and then all the ETH fees, everything, blah, 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 combine it all. Plus, you could have had 40% APY if you just waited 4,000 days. After that 4,000 days is up, you're going to be like, I just played around for about 700,000 hours, and I could have just waited a couple years.
So, but what I think Sam is suggesting is that you're factoring in a percentage mitigation for the potential for the price to go down. So you're doing the math, factoring in like some amount that it could drop by, and then remember it can go the other way as well. So you could end up having like a win and ending up with more than what you were expecting as well. That could possibly happen.
So to give the
but I do agree. But I agree with Jay that like that volatility means you lose the ability to have any sort of certainty on what those payments.
Yeah, it sounds stressful to pay a mortgage like that.
Absolutely,
it sounds stressful to me.
Tangent. So you had mentioned yesterday 2 stables, USDT, USDC, around 40%. So in that example, hypothetically, if you had $100,000, right? Because I'm refinancing, right? I'm going to probably have something north of that, right? So 100 grand as a pair earning 40%. If you take 40 divided by 12, it's 3.33% per month. So times 0.0333, that's $3,300 per month that you'd be earning from that. Does that sound like accurate? So
the math checks out. You just have to consider that there are like so volatility risk is not the only risk. You've got other risks within the tech stack. So you are trusting because that one was that one's decentralized. It was a Uniswap. It was a Uniswap pair, so that's fine. You're not trusting any third party there. I guess like code bug risk and you losing your keys risk. Like, all these things can be obviously mitigated, but you just want to be careful when you're starting to deal with large sums of money. And obviously the definition of large is different for everyone, but so you would just want to be cautious with those additional risks that might not be immediately apparent. But other than that, yes, the math checks out, and there would be you've got no volatility risk, and it's 40% just off fees. Just to be clear, it was UST, not USDT.
Oh, thank you.
For that. Yeah. That's the pair. But coindix.com gives you those. You can look at all the stablecoin yields. So you can look at those yields, but just be aware.
How do you
Desk?
DIX.
You literally just said CoinDix.
DIX. Well, it's
CoinDix, but DIX.
CoinDix.
Oh, they actually did it like that? That's fucking great.
Desk.
So just check it 2 days in a row, because like that example I gave where it was like 2,000% yield and I jumped on that pool, and by the next day it was like 38%. Because so many people, because it was just because the pool had just come out. So few people were staked in it that the payout per person was just absolutely huge, or not per person, but per dollar staked was huge. So I jumped in at about 1,800%, and then that percentage yield just came crashing down from 2,000% yearly down to just under 40% yearly, and now it's on about that. But in that one, the payout wasn't even in stablecoin; it was in some like go token or something, which is probably, I love 69. Is that I69? Or I69. So what does it say underneath? What's the final word? What's the fine print?
I can't dox. It was a birthday party, and I can't dox.
Oh, okay.
What? That was some birthday.
Yeah, it was. They handed out T-shirts. Yeah,
So it didn't happen.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. Here to contribute by smash the likes if you want your Pulse and PulseX to moon. I certainly want my Pulse and PulseX to moon. Motley, how are you doing? I'll be texting you today at some point. Ignore me if you want to. What's Gucci, brother? How you doing?
The other thing I'll add, Sam, is that I was looking. The reason I was doing this research into stablecoin yields was for if we had gone into a bear market, I would want some kind of just like steady yield while everything's just getting absolutely crushed. But now that things are looking really good, and this is not a commentary based purely off this HEX pump that's just happened, the whole crypto market is going off. Like total, we're just under 2 trillion now. We're up to 1.96. You should see the green candle on total cap is just like a massive green dildo.
Where is it? We're talking about Dix here, CoinDix, and now we're talking about giant dildos. Let's go on. Come on, it's 69. So where do you find that?
All right, Sam, where do you want to
share the screen? I'll share the screen. I'll send you a link that's got all. Are you talking about the total caps? Like when you want to see the total cap stats?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I'll have to send you a link. I can pull that up too. It's a TradingView site.
Oh, it's a separate one. My bad.
Like it's as in, so I sent it through because I don't think YouTube lets me will let non-admins put links into the chat. So I just sent it to you in private chat, bro.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you.
And Jim Rat, if you want to repump that into the actual comments for everyone to be able to click on, that gives you the first 3 links in that blog, like TradingView blog, is total cap, and then total 2, which excludes BTC, and total 3, which excludes BTC and excludes ETH.
Okay, this is dope.
And total cap is just absolutely pumping right now. We're heading to 2 trillion.
So that's the total cap chart.
Yep. That's everything.
Damn, that's the total cap chart of everything in crypto right now.
Everything, yeah. According to TradingView's cap stats, though.
Right.
So if you argue that like there are ones that are wrong, like HEX is probably treated incorrectly in TradingView's, like I don't know where they import their data from, but this gives you a pretty good idea, even if it's not super accurate. Do you know what I mean?
No, this is just, even if it's, there's definitely nuance to how you calculate market cap for sure, and especially when you consider HEX and things along those lines.
And with individual coin prices fluctuating so violently, it's like it's good to even have a chart like this. I'm surprised someone put it together.
Jay had mentioned this morning that like newer things were very interesting to you, right? So question, and this goes, anybody can answer after Jay. I was playing around with Uniswap because when I was looking at PulseX testnet, and I was like, well, let me just check like something that's actually live. And there are pairs you can connect, right? So if you have 10,000, if you have a data set of 10,000, there's going to only be the primary, pairs there. And there's opportunities to create a liquidity pool from a pair that nobody else has created, as Tangent had said, where the percentage could be really high. Have you ever like thought about something like that? So you basically put together two pieces for something that have never existed before, so you get a brand new thing out there, and then potentially other people are going to jump on board depending on if you see those two projects as in like right from, you're looking at the fundamental analysis. So you're seeing, hey, this project and this project are interesting. If I create the pair from zero, I have that potential to get that right away, and other people can piggyback on top of that. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts are.
100%, man. Yeah, 100%. That was a really good question. Yeah, man, I've had private conversations with, dolphins about that shit, like that's quite the opportunity, to be like, hey, you and me, we're going to make a liquidity pool. I mean, literally, right? Like you and your dolphin friend, like,
damn,
you got the capital. Like, you're literally creating the market. It's like, all right, we're going to make this market. We can coordinate it. I mean, like, if anybody thinks collusion isn't in the game, then they're an idiot. Like,
they're absolutely,
it's all collusion.
Yeah.
How much is collusion? Everything. Like, even in HEX, do you know how many people pool money? You know how Rackham got #1 on the sacrifice list? Because he pools money. He doesn't have that much money. He pools it.
Yeah.
He has a group of investors. He probably got the smallest bag in the group. I mean, seriously.
So this is what you were referencing in without like pointing out this, like, so we're like, okay, hey, let's do an LP pool between XYZ and ABC. It's not out there yet. Let's put in this, and then you're getting 4,000%. Other people are like,
yeah, we could even trade it. We could even fucking dude. It's so bad. We could create a liquidity pool, and then we can be the ones to trade it to make it look like there's something going on, and then something actually starts going on, right? You fake it till you make it. I mean, dude, can't make this shit up.
But you can, because this is literally what these dudes are doing, and they're
right here. You literally can't make this shit. I agree. It is amazing.
Wow.
This is like alpha. If every I'm so glad people don't know about.
Why am my teeth green screening?
Sam,
that's funny.
Sam, the main difference though, in terms of if just being first to make the pair, is that you set the ratio. So in terms of like who is the biggest holder of the liquidity, it doesn't really matter whether you're first or second or a millionth. If you come in, if you're a whale and you come in, then you will control the majority of the liquidity. And it's quite like, obviously with Pulse Chain, there's going to be heaps of pairs that haven't been, well, I mean, not really, because you know how like all of the that harvesting bot and all that sort of stuff. So lots of LPs will already be set up. And so if you assume that, it's actually quite difficult to find pairs that truly don't exist, because remember that if there is a routable path from one token to another, even if there's no direct pair of those two, then it can be routed. And if you create what seems to you to be a new pair, but your ratio is off the routable ratio, then an ARB bot is just going to come in and F you up. Someone's going to get effed, and it's probably going to be you on this thing that you think is new, but really actually technically already exists through routing. So
it's perfect sense.
So definitely still get excited about what you guys were saying in terms of like big money coming in and working together to like provide heaps of liquidity and make money that way. I'm sure whales in HEX have made quite a lot of money. Although, you know, Richard made that comment at one point where he said anyone who was a liquidity provider in HEX, while the price was skyrocketing, you are actually copying a paper loss because of impermanent loss. So yeah, just factor that in. But yeah, it's pretty exciting shit.
Just enter in the 10,000x in 300 days and you'll be good, bro. No worries. Like that's
loss.
So hard to figure out, though. You know,
impermanent loss. Does that work to your advantage in reverse?
Yes.
On a dip.
Maybe.
Well, like
so you lose, right? So you have HEX and USDC, right? And HEX is pumping, so you're getting less and less HEX because that ratio has to stay constant for the constant, right? So this is going up and up, and you're losing HEX, and then you're like, okay, cool, it is what it is. Like I decided to make this decision, and then it tanks, and it's down 80%. Are you building that back up so that you're getting more HEX? Is that how that works?
Yeah, you'd be buying on the way down. I think a better example, rather than using a USDC example, would be to use two assets that are not stable. So say if you had like HEX and ETH in a pair, you're providing both sides of that. And then the price of HEX and ETH, either one can go up or down. So you could get like impermanent, like, so you're at the mercy of the price action of each asset. And also you're at the mercy of the ratio that you get from being in that liquidity pool as the price, relative price between those two assets changes. So your ratio of holding is changing, and the dollar value of each asset is also holding. So those really impermanent loss refers to the combination of those variables.
Can you do that same example, but use HEX and a stable coin or something? So it's not two variables on both sides. But
I'm sorry to interrupt, guys, but I gotta go. It's been an awesome stream.
Sorry, Jay. Do you want to do last words or something? Do you want to do last words?
Yeah,
do you want to do a shout out?
No, chat doesn't deserve it. Peace, guys.
I'll see you later, brother. Yeah, he's a savage. He doesn't give a fuck. Chat, he only likes his alpha going to the people that are chilling.
That was brutal.
Yeah, he's always.
Thank you, Jay. Appreciate your time.
Thanks, Jay, bro. Hey, Jay's the man, guys. He's a little friggin' crazy, but I am too. That's why I love him.
Crazy people rule the world. So a HEX USDC.
With an example like that, you really are removing a lot of the variables, because now really the only thing matters is the price of HEX. That's the only variable now, because the price of HEX now impacts the ratio between the two, and it also impacts the value of the one asset that can change in price, the other one's stable. So in a pair like that, I guess you could argue that there's less risk for impermanent loss. Well, sorry. It's definitely less difficult to calculate. But basically, this might help. The time that the LPs make the most money is when there's high volatility, but the trend is sideways. So and that's regardless of what's going on. So if everything is just basically like in a crab market where everything is just moving sideways, but things are going up and down, that's when the LPs print money and don't have that high changing ratio of what they're holding and stuff, because you're basically fluctuating around similar price levels, but the volatility is there, so you're getting lots of buys and sells that you're making fees on.
So here I pulled this little diagram thing up. Okay, so if there's an inflection point, right here, say if this is HEX down here, right, and maybe this is USDC, blah 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 over here, right. So when the price of HEX is going up this way, you're getting less, right? You have the impermanent loss, and then
your HEX is turning into USDC.
And then the exact opposite happens is that accurate, right? So the price now is dropping, you're actually increasing HEX holdings.
So provided that you do not adjust how much LP you have in the pool, then if the price moves up and then back down to where it was, you'll end up with the exact same amount of both.
Because you could shave some off either direction if you wanted to play that game.
Yeah, but
actually, my example also assumes that other people aren't changing how much. So there are a few other variables, but in general, yes, you rebuy on the way down if you don't pull your LP out.
Oh, well, that is super fascinating. Thank you for.
So if you actually want to use the LP as a way of actually accumulating or distributing your asset, then you have to keep an eye on it. And when the price moves in the direction that you want, then you pull your LP out so that you end up.
But another approach on a very macro sense could be providing liquidity after you've seen 100x in price, because then there's a decent chance it could continue, but there's also a decent chance it could start to go into a bear market. So say if you've had 6, 7, 10, 12 months of a bull run, right? At some point there's going to be a bear, right? At some point. So if you put in that pair, then you would just continue to buy. Right? Is that? Am I missing? Yeah. What am I missing there? Right? You'd continue to, if you put up that same HEX USDC, you'd continue to acquire more HEX as that ratio came down, assuming that a bear run happened relatively soon after that.
Yeah, I guess it introduces a timing component though, because if you just leave the LP in there, then as it goes back, like if you do manage to catch that thing that you're using it like a dollar cost averaging thing as the bear market comes through, and you're just accumulating more and more HEX as it goes down, if you don't remove the LP at some point, as it goes back up, it's going to sell it all.
And do the opposite. So, yes. Okay. Go ahead.
I think someone made a comment yesterday, I think, that there was a question that you need a lot of money to make it worthwhile or something like that. And I guess it is kind of true that you do see the people that make the most money with LP sort of stuff is I think if it wasn't for the incentive tokens that I was talking about before that offset some of those potential negative risks, I think providing LP probably wouldn't be as popular and as profitable, or almost certainly. Obviously that's actually obvious, because obviously that you're getting that additional. So it definitely wouldn't be as profitable, but I'm saying it wouldn't even be as enticing. Like it wouldn't be as tempting to do, which is why they have to offer it.
But even earning, like when you say, right, coming from a legacy world, so you're like, hey, you can kind of reduce impermanent loss drastically by doing 2 stable coins, and just, earning 40% on your money compared to legacy is like stupid, right? But you would mention nonchalantly, you're like, yeah, but 40%, and if you have to wait 40% for the year, like that's kind of ridiculous to earn 40%. It's kind of like how I understood your comments
in crypto. Yeah. In crypto, people just expect gains that are many orders of magnitude higher than that.
So that's because, like, if my thinking is, I could.
However, this has got very limited downside risk, whereas all the other things that people are doing in crypto typically to get outsized gains have got large downside risk, or at least some downside risk. Whereas this is
like
40%.
It's
relatively safe
for sure.
40% up, 40% gain, reliable, no downside risk.
Can you talk about or contrast this versus like staking or yield farming? Because those are very similar things, staking and yield farming. Or staking isn't too broad of a term in a sense.
Staking is a very broad term that's been co-opted by different projects to mean different things.
So what about yield farming, where I think it was Crypto Games had mentioned single-sided. So that would be more of like a yield farm in how I'm...
Single-sided is like when I have a pool, right? Like if I have a Cardano pool, I see them all the time, right? There's ADA pools, right? That guy who's really, I don't even remember, Ben Cohen, he always talks about ADA pool, everything he says.
I remember that.
Shut up, Cohen. First of all, literally annoying as fuck, dude. You're the smartest dude. Stop being such a douche about that. Anyway, ADA is a shit coin. No, I'm kidding. But all you do is I would have a pool, and then people would just put money in my pool and then earn the reward. That would be single-sided, right? You would earn Cardano in reward, right? Tangent, which is ADA. Sam, do you know about ADA Cardano? It's the same thing.
I mean, like I don't know anything about the project, but I know what ADA is.
It's a popular one. So basically Ben Cohen has a staking pool. He's a popular guy, and you just enter your coins into their staking pool, and then you earn ADA as a reward. That's just like a single-sided. You can take it out when you want. You can you could do whatever you want with it, but I think there's limits of like how much you have to put in.
So what's the risk profile difference between, and I know there's nuances, right? Like if you're going to be holding your keys and stuff, but what's the difference between on the risks and also the return side of things on a little bit higher view between LPs and farming?
Well, let me take 1 second at it. So the comment that I need to pull up is Ninja Chopsticks, because he said it best, right? We're not really talking about risk. Is like if everything moons, like the risk is not like crazy because like they just keep printing out money. But anyway, basically, there's so many comments. You guys are wrecking it.
Hell yeah.
But no, I have to pull this one up because it was really good. And
well, you pull that up in Tangent. You pull that up, but go ahead, Tangent.
Yield farming has also become quite a broad term. At the start, there was like it was a bit tighter with what it was specifically about. But basically, anything in DeFi where you can generate a yield, I guess, would come under the umbrella of yield farming these days. And what was the actual question? That
risks versus returns relative to LP,
relative to a stake pool, relative to
the thing that I personally look for is the way that this whatever the offer is in terms of the yield, is that yield being supplied in a sustainable way? Like, so we're using HEX as an example. You know that the obligations to pay out the HEX is always going to be met because of the fact that it's in the native token and there's the inflation is how the payouts get paid. So you're like, okay, it's a sustainable model. Whereas there are many projects where the way that they have the yield that they are providing is the model is not sustainable. So like I was saying with these incentive tokens where they're just handing it out, but it's like only for a certain period of time that they're going to be doing that for, just to kind of try and bootstrap the liquidity. And then it doesn't, like, then people will just go on to the next, people will leave to chase some other high yield option once that incentive's not there anymore. So I think that's quite important, is like, is the yield sustainable? You know, Anchor Protocol recently, they worked out that it's the 20, they're offering 20% for just straight staking of UST. So this is one of those single asset pools. You stake it, you get 20%. But they worked out that they're going to run out of economic energy to fund that yield. And so they're like dipping into their treasury or some shit like that. And then all that shit just sounds highly unsustainable to me, that you're basically having to
Ponzi-ish.
Yeah, you're kind of like stealing money from other sources to try and keep paying this yield. It's like, whereas there are other models where it's actually either what you're getting paid is fees. And then that's why these yields can actually fluctuate. So that's why on CoinDix, you could be looking at
I'm gonna send you a link
at a yield option, and then when you come back the next day, the percentage could be different because for various factors. So I guess.
Well, so what is your personal, like, you've been in this longer than I have, you've been in probably longer than GC. So what are your thoughts on how you view it? Are you looking more at yield farming for your personal portfolio, hypothetically, or more for LP because of those nuances that you just mentioned?
I mean, HEX would by far be the one that in terms of yield generation, HEX would like be my biggest play. For other stuff, I guess for people who are new to it, it's probably a good idea to look for some of these projects where they're like yield aggregators, where behind the scenes they either do or at least claim to do all the hard work of like looking for the highest yields and like rotating funds through and stuff like that. And then you just buy that token and you make the money without having to actually do it. I'm always on the lookout for like tempting yield farming opportunities, but I'm also aware of the risk, you know, like it's not, what you'll find is that many of them end up losing money. Many of these yield strategies, I mean, you just look at all these single asset staking pools that Jim Rat Crypto was just mentioning, like DOT and ADA, Kusama, and all of those, they've all got staking pools that you can stake. And I would say most people, because of this recent crypto market crash, so to speak, most of those people would have just been better off holding dollars, you know? So I guess what I'm trying to say is, since timing is still an element, right? Like, you've got these yield options, but because you're at the mercy of mostly at the mercy of the price action of those assets, what it means is that if you're going to basically be taking the risk on how the asset performs, it could just be simpler to just buy the asset, and if it does what you think it's going to do, then you're going to make money anyway, probably more than if you're. But if you've got coins just sitting around that are stakeable, then you might as well stake them. So like if you're holding a fat bag of DOT, you might as well have it staked, assuming there's no like weird lockup shit that, because I don't know the exact details with that. But so that's actually a big one. It's like, are you already holding the asset that can potentially be used to generate you a yield? If yes, then your risk profile is different from someone who's actually considering to specifically buy that asset to try to get yield, because you're already carrying the downside risk of that crypto going down in price. So then all you're doing, if it does go down and you've got it staked, you're just easing the pain a little bit, that you're just slightly not as bad as where you would have been if you'd just been holding it.
Oh, okay, gotcha. So you're already holding that.
That's actually
Let's acknowledge this real quick. I killed Epstein. Nice woman, sounds like, and you're on my team. Plus everyone loses, plus ADA equals Shalata with ADA. Get your founder drinking away your money and frolicking with the birds in the forest. Crypto needs more moon boots, not a teenage Bigfoot. I agree with that statement. I watch his stupid streams all the time where he dances around talking about Colorado. That's all he does is talk about Colorado, for God's sakes. He never says anything except this imaginary fantasy world that nobody understands what he's saying. They're just like, this dude's cool. He's so smart. Oh my God. And yeah, he probably is cool and so smart, but you're wrecked. Like, he's just like rich as fuck and he's not doing anything. It's been 5.5 years. It's been 5.5 years, Tangent. 5.5, dude. I was chilling in fucking a rehab back then. Like, what? I've done my whole life's journey, and he's just still like mocking people online. But ADA
holders definitely enjoy watching other dudes bang their girlfriend. It's absolutely true. It's facts. It's just facts. By the way, I Killed Epstein is a regular on my channel and always has awesome comments.
That was amazing. You seem awesome. You should chill more into this chat when you all sees are up late at night. We always appreciate. This isn't late at night for Tangent though. This is probably like right on time.
Midnight.
This is like you chill time. Like, you know, like, is this generally, would you be up right now chilling?
Yeah. I'd just be doing crypto.
Yeah.
This is dope. What?
So K4K, hold on real quick. K4K, he's the best resource for the in my opinion, for the up-to-date, straightforward information about everything testnet, everything pulse chain, everything that has any technicalness to it. This dude is the best guy in HEX right now as far as getting that information out. And
K says so. Pulse HEX staking, you can't lose. So if somebody has more context on like what he's referencing or why he thinks that would be fantastic. And providing liquidity, you can do worse than just holding the coins. But the first part of the statement, I think, at least for me, needs more context to get an understanding of what he means. So if you're going to be staking PLSX, what are you getting with staking your PLSX? Because you're still providing liquidity, right? That's what, if you're going to stake PLSX, right? You're gonna do like maybe Pulse and PLSX and be in that pool, right? Or is there other options I just don't know about? There probably is, and I'm just not aware of them. Is that what he's referencing?
You think you could just separately, again, we're talking about a single-sided staking pool again, I think. No impermanent loss staking PLSX. So this is what I'm saying, Sam, real quick. Again, And all these guys are going to immediately think, and let me get my thought out because again, I'm a noob when I'm saying this stuff, guys. I'm also talking it out when I say stuff. So I'm not just like saying shit so you listen. I kind of want to know. But this is important what he's saying right here. And I think it comes to my point. I might be wrong though. So single staking, you're not providing liquidity, Sam. Single asset staking has nothing to do with liquidity providing. It has to do with me saying K for K. If you put this amount, you'll get this much back in PLSX. It's kind of separate. It's just like
so in this example, so you're taking your PLSX and you're staking it somewhere on Pulse chain. Then is that?
I believe so. I believe so.
Okay.
Because I think Richard said that there'll be an incentive token that's actually another token.
So from my understanding of that, it is accurate, but the incentive token only goes to LPs. So So if you're going to use PulseX to stake your PulseX, then you only way that I know of, and maybe there's other things that I'm just completely clueless, could be perfectly true, then you have to stake as a LP, or maybe K for K is like, that's completely wrong. There's a whole other option.
K for K, just come on, bro. I sent you the link. You saw it, dude. We need you, bro. I just want to meet the guy because he's so chill. I'm sorry, but dude, I know you're busy probably doing 50.
If I had to guess how it's going to go down, that incentive token will be the one that you get for like everything, whether you're staking LP or staking PLSX or whatever. Do you guys remember that when Richard said there was going to be like another token to be the one that you actually get as the incentive?
It's on the website. I'll pull it up when you finish talking about it.
All right, so
I wonder what the code of balance is going to be.
I want to know in the comments from me, and if you guys can answer it, of course.
Holy
what
shit!
Do you stake to get the LP token? Just so we can let's get straight with the LP token. Do we know exactly what the LP token is? I don't think so. I know we know what it says.
I can tell you right now. This is like, it's arbitrary, like as in the owner of the site or the whoever's in. I don't know how to word this so that it doesn't like SEC the shit out of Richard, but it gets chosen like which pairs. So you guys heard about Quick Swap on like Polygon? It's like it wasn't every single pair that you could get the incentive token for providing LP. So some people would be providing LP and not getting the token. There is actually a way to do it in a sort of decentralized way, is that it's got cutoffs for how much total LP is being provided by the community or by the token holders. And if it reaches a certain amount, then there becomes an incentive token distribution. But so it's a way of like ruling out all the shit coins that are just like low liquidity garbage, and it stops people from gaming the system. It has to be like a reasonably prominent coin before you start to get incentive token distribution.
So tangent, I'm on pulsex.com, and on here it says, okay, the second PulseX incentive token, and I'll just read this quickly. In order to enhance PulseX's success, another token will exist to further incentivize LPs beyond the fees they're already making. So this is what you had mentioned several times, right? Then this sentence here, when they become LPs, they will receive LP tokens. And then the last sentence is also important. LP tokens that can be deposited into a yield farm. This not yet named token is emitted with decreasing inflation over time. The DAO, this is what you just said. The DAO chooses which trading pairs receive the incentive token and at what rates. And then people go ahead.
No. That's I'm agreeing. Like as in, so obviously that was out of those two options that I said, in like in terms of a semi-automated way and a manual way, that it's obviously a manual selection of what gets incentivized. Like, and which by a DAO, like, so that's in itself claims to be decentralized, but it's still just a group of people, right? Like, it's still voting by humans. So yeah, that's cool.
So there's on DEXs, is there, because I was looking at Uniswap last night, on a DEX, there's liquidity provided, but then it also looked like there was pools, and the pools is where K for K was maybe referencing, where there's a yield farm pool. Is that what that is?
Yeah, I think like on most dexes, the pools tab actually also is the tab that you go to for staking your LP tokens. So like when you provide liquidity, you get a token back that represents the liquidity that you have provided, and that's the thing that you actually stake. By the way, one risk that is involved in all of this that I'm sure has happened to me without me even knowing is once you go through this convoluted process of doing shit, like even the first step of providing liquidity and you get that LP token back, if you like go a few months without looking at crypto and you forget that you supplied that liquidity, when you go back to your wallet to see if you've got like any HEX or USDC, it's not going to show up because it's trapped within that LP token. That's not going to come up on Etherscan as like an asset that has value. And so you have to either make really good notes or have a really good memory, especially if you're like balls deep in crypto and you're just doing all sorts of shit and you have the chance that you could forget one of the plays that you made. That money could just be like effectively invisible to you. Get what I'm saying? So that's another risk, is that you forget that you even, obviously you wouldn't forget if it's like huge dollars, but sometimes you're just playing around with like a few grand or whatever, and then it's like that shit, it's gone.
Because you could technically separate the LP token and get rid of the LP token separately and still have LP in the pool. Is that accurate?
You would use that LP token to withdraw your liquidity, and then that's when you'll have the real tokens back that would actually show up in your wallet.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. Yes, I never thought.
All right,
about that.
Sam, gather your thoughts. Tangent, gather your thoughts. I'm gonna say something to the chat.
All right.
So, guys, real quick, I'm gonna pull up a tab, and I'm actually saying this because I'm actually a good dude, and I actually know when someone's doing good work, and I want to appreciate it. That's the only reason. And I honestly don't do that good of work yet, guys. You can be honest. I mean, we're fun and entertaining, but like we're learning shit on here with everyone, which also helps in a beneficial way. So people think learning is cool, because it is. But at the same time, this dude has definitely done more learning than me, and I want everyone to follow him right now. Let me pull him up. And he was just in the chat, obviously. This guy you actually need to be following. Like, I would defer you to follow this guy before you follow me. I really would. Like, if there was a, like, for your benefits, this show is very entertaining, where I have guys on. I'm getting the best minds in here and trying to ask really good questions, and some people love that. But if you want to know what the F is going on, look at that hat swagger, by the way.
What's the channel name?
K4K Crypto. K4K Crypto right here.
Number 4?
Yep. K4 the number.
K4K.
Crypto.
Is that who we just had on with us?
Yep. No, that was Jay.
No,
this is
Jay.
So this guy is the one I watch his videos. First thing when I wake up, if he comes out with a video, I generally watch it. So.
And is it HEX focused?
Yeah, he's a Hexican. So he was at the HEX conference. He was partying with everyone, doing it, having a great time. Yeah, he's a young man, very young man.
Thanks, man. I haven't seen this channel yet.
Yeah, and anyone in the comments that doesn't know much about what's going on, like, please follow that guy.
And it looks like he's streaming every day, pretty much.
He posts regular videos. So he only posts, I think, I could be wrong about that, and I know you stream with other people, but on his channel, I don't think he streams, but I could be wrong about that.
He's got a video saying he bought $100 million worth of Pulse X and burnt it. What the fuck?
That's clickbait, or just
that's got to be clickbait for sure, right?
12-incher.
Yeah.
Tangent, you're slacking. Motley says you're slacking. You don't know K4K. He's on the other side of the world. He's a 12 hours difference. So
so that's one of the things that I was thinking about, Jim Rat, that every single person that we chat with, Tangent, let me ask you this question, and I've actually got to run in a couple minutes. So I was asking Jay this morning in the Telegram, when you are looking at researching, right, because it's a perpetual thing, you kind of look at it as like a little bit of a mosaic, right? You've got all these little pieces that you put together to get a bigger picture of what's fucking actually happening. But there's a couple sources, there are probably bigger stripes on your mosaic, right, that represent where some of that information comes from. What are some of those things for you, because I think bringing those pieces of information together to the community, well, for me, it's going to be valuable, but I want it to also be valuable for other people. What are some of those things that you pull, whether it's a podcast, a website like the Coin Dixie and the Total Market Cap? Awesome resources, right? What are some more things like that where you turn to for information, whether it's a person, a website, a podcast, a YouTube channel? We'd love to hear those.
I guess for me personally, it all starts on YouTube. Like I follow people on YouTube and then I watch their stuff and then they might mention something and I'll go down that rabbit hole. So I want to give credit, but I genuinely don't remember which channels were the ones that is how I heard about that CoinDix website. Someone mentioned it on their stream and I went and looked at it.
In your life as well. Like, do you have like a man you call to defer to information?
I'm in several chat groups. I mean, I got banned off Telegram, so like now I'm not in any Telegram ones, but I'm in some Facebook chat groups where people talk about crypto. And so obviously with the filter that you have to start with the assumption that if anyone is talking about a crypto, they've just bought a big bag of it or they've got an old bag of it and they're shilling because they want everyone to buy it to try and make the price go up. That should be your default assumption when anyone ever mentions anything in crypto, perhaps with the exception of when I mentioned that stablecoin pool, because me saying, hey, you can stake the stablecoin pool, I can't, that's not going to pump my bag even if I could tell the whole world to buy it, right? So with that as a default assumption, then you just keep an open mind. And if you hear something that actually sounds quite good, like if someone's got like a reasonable justification why they're shilling it, they're like, hey, I heard about this project. It like actually addresses this thing. And then you can just look into it more. But I don't think I've got like a step-by-step process like that I follow each time I'm looking at stuff.
He's just
does that answer the question?
Totally answers our question.
Mainly YouTube though. YouTube would be the definitely the most common seeds. Like that is what seeds my like individual crypto investigations are things that I hear on YouTube.
What is, if the first name that comes to mind on YouTube channel that you kind of pay attention to, just the first one that comes up that you like, hey, enjoy their content, enjoy the value they provide, the insights, etc.
I think probably the one with literally the best production quality and unbiased commentary is there's a guy, it's called Coin Bureau, and his name is Guy. And even though I will admit he talks about coins that I think are totally garbage sometimes, so just be aware that I'm not promoting the like saying that he always nails it. Like he covers coins that I'm like, dude, what the actual F are you doing? But at least he brings a balanced perspective where when he talks about it, he actually has an entire section about what he likes about it and an entire section of things that concern him. And I believe after watching him for a while that he is genuinely trying to do a good job of providing unbiased, and his news ones where he covers the news are awesome.
Oh, interesting. That's a massive channel, right? Is that the 2 million?
Yeah. Huge channel. Yeah, 2 mil is even like, because remember in crypto, even 500,000 is huge in crypto. So he's like 4x of like a big crypto channel. Yeah. And I think the reason his following has blown up is exactly what I'm talking about. People recommend him because they know that he's not going to like get on there and start like saying random dumb shit and shilling. Like most of the time, the projects that he is promoting are too big for there to be like a pump factor of him doing the video. So it's, you know what I mean? Like they're established projects and that sort of thing. So he did one on Terra, like he's done several on Terra. That's actually how I found out about UST and how I learned initially my learning about UST, which is probably one of the better stable coins since it's like largely decentralized, and that was through one of his videos. And sometimes I just like being generally knowledgeable about other projects so that if someone's talking about it, I'm like, I hear Tone Vase these days, and because he's got such a narrow view of altcoins where he just thinks they're all scams, when people talk to him about a project, he's got no idea what it's about. And then that makes him seem like he's not that knowledgeable about the space. And so people are less likely to take his opinion seriously. So by me learning about these other projects, most of them are garbage, but at least if I know about them, if people are talking about them, I've got something reasonably sensible to say. I can explain what I don't like about the project, so that I'm not just being like, it's a scam, don't look at it. Like I can't explain to you why it's Tone Vay's, literally a quote by him is, I can't tell you why it's a scam because I haven't looked at it at all, but I know it's a scam. And that is just the most ignorant shit you've ever heard. You can't be doing that shit. He's generally right. The majority of them are scams, like not probably more than 95%. So statistically, he's going to be correct when he just pulls that out. But it's a bullshit statement. You can't know if you haven't looked at it.
And you're correct, because I have this saying, like, anybody who says things like absolutes, like that, like all
Yep.
ultra are shit,
Yep.
they're either ignorant, right, or they're trying to shill something, right? They're trying to sell you something, or they're just fucking clueless and ignorant. They just don't know, and it's not like
Yeah, but at the same time, there was guys stuck in the gray area for Bitcoin, and no one will say otherwise. There were so many guys stuck back in the day before I was involved. From what I hear, of course. But there's guys that were like wanted to shill, but didn't 100% know at the same time.
What did you mean by gray area?
Like the gray area between people like buying Bitcoin and like shilling it, right? Like there's a way big difference between buying Bitcoin and then like some people are rich, so they don't care so much. But like, I guess if you go online and present yourself online, that's kind of what we're talking about. Like if you're behind the scenes 100%, like people like that don't shill, I feel like. I don't know. I just mean like, I feel like some people were confident in Bitcoin and had it and chilled it, but like you couldn't assume.
I guess
Bitcoin was.
I think that ratio is important. If the combined potential economic energy of the person or people that you are shilling to is unlikely to be able to actually pump the price in a way that would be meaningful to your bag, then it's probably reasonable, like ethical, to talk about it. And that comes back to what I was saying about guys, that usually all his shit is disclosed and that sort of thing. Whereas these YouTubers so with Bitcoin, it's way past that point, right? Like it's for individuals, unless you are like a mega whale, I know that I have ethically promoted Bitcoin throughout my life, because it's never been in a situation where the person I'm talking to could just pump it where it would impact my bag. So there's no financial incentive for me to like shill Bitcoin to people. But when these YouTubers do it with like tiny ass coins, or they're paid to do it on like a new coin, and they've got a high follower count, like in the hundreds of thousands of people, then you bet your ass that there is that capacity there. And I think that's when it shifts from like through that gray area that you're talking about of like, is this ethical for me to be shilling this shit? And then it goes to a hard no, you know?
I'm going between that area too, just because of okay, guys, when you're excited about HEX, like in the beginning, it's a little different. Like you get your butterflies out, everyone tells their friends and family, like that's okay, of course. But then I go to people I trust, like 100%. No one else I'm going to talk to. Why? Because they're going to fucking hate me, and they're going to get wrecked and then hate me more. And then if they get rich, who gives a fuck? They're not. I mean, yeah, they'll care. That's why when I say I only tell the people I trust, because if Sam's whole life changes because of this, he's certainly going to respect me intellectually a hair more than he would have otherwise, because then he'll just be like, well, Scott's kind of consistent. Scott kind of pays attention. He has a track record of doing so. He was telling me this thing was legit. He wasn't 100% sure, but he was sure that you should look into it now. I never told Sam to buy a damn thing. I said, this would be a good idea. You need to start learning now. Correct. And he was like, yes.
You know, I was on that cliff, and you just need that little push to be like, okay, cool, time to dive in.
I was like, dude, people are getting nasty rich over here. It's fucking insane. Free internet money is like my fucking line that comes out of my mouth every day. I'm like, it's just free internet money. All you gotta do is click. I tell people all the time, all you gotta do is click. You learn the clicks, you win. How easy is that? When nobody told me that in school, by the way. Nobody was like, dude, you pay your attention to your computer for like 3 hours a day watching like financial shit, you'll be way better off. They were all just like, go to school.
They would have been predicting the future, right? Like as in.
But when I was in school, YouTube was legit.
Okay.
So You know what I mean? Like when I was in
Also,
college.
you're not necessarily talking about crypto. You're talking about other potential ways of using computers to make money.
Just in general, they were just
Yeah.
complicating something that did not need to be complicated.
Have you guys heard of the acronym MMO? Make money online.
No.
I've
So
heard the saying, but I've never seen the
So
acronym.
pre-crypto, there was like, I guess, an industry of like, and there was a lot of scamming of like convincing people. People desperately wanted to believe that there was a way that you could generate an income just from sitting on your computer and doing shit all day. And like the narratives seemed reasonable, right? Like there were narratives that they could drive saying like, look, you're providing this function, I don't know, like fucking ghostwriting, or like you're freaking, I don't know, filling out surveys for companies that want data about like whatever, that you could somehow make money while just like Jim Rat said, just clicking buttons and shit, just fucking around your computer, make some money. But crypto is the ultimate MMO. Like it is the real version of being able to make serious money just by dicking around on your computer, if you know what's up. But you actually just reminded me.
Would you be
Jim Rat,
surprised if Hedron retired you permanently, just forever? Like you were just like, oh, my Hedron bag just took it over the top. Now I'm never doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like stupid shit.
me or
No, not you. Like, not for your
Oh.
whatever your situation is, but like you could fuck around, click a couple buttons, and your life changes real quick. Like
for me personally, I think Pulse is the most likely crypto to level up my wealth. That is
I'm
my
saying,
belief.
Hedron, you weren't even like, if Hedron came or went, you wouldn't have given
Oh.
two. You're just like, whoops.
Oh.
When I say clicking buttons, I mean like there's buttons that I'm gonna click that you won't click, even though you maybe are more rich and have more understanding. But like some people are like, if you keep clicking, you're gonna keep making money. If you stop clicking for Hedron for a couple months and went across the country to go get some vacay, you lost the 10x opportunity because it's already down to 5x. So that's what I'm saying. Like you could just by focusing, like it's crazy. And I'm not saying
You just reminded me. I heard MetaMask is going to be doing an airdrop. Now I assume that you have to have actually used their swapping feature inside the wallet, which I've actually never done. Like I use, obviously we all use MetaMask, but I don't think they're just going to drop it to people who have, because they wouldn't
that's
even
how they got
know.
the big money out. That's how they get the big money out.
I think they'll airdrop to people who have used their internal swapping feature, which has always been a terrible value compared to using DEXs, because the fees and the spreads and shit were terrible. So that's why I was never using it. But it might not be too late because it hasn't been officially announced. So depending on when they're going to like snapshot who's done it and who hasn't done it, it could be worth just going on MetaMask and just doing a swap, like swapping something for something else, that the next time you were going to do a trade anyway, if the fees are not too savage. I mean, ETH fees are pretty low at the moment. Do it through MetaMask and you might become part of that set who's going to cop that airdrop. And so similar to Uniswap, how they did it, where they just looked at who has interacted with the protocol and then just airdrop their users.
But that also saves them from the whales, because whales don't use the fucking MetaMask server. So you know what I mean? Maybe they're like doing it because there's a lot of other ways to do that airdrop. Only noobs use that. Like bottom level noobs use that function because it's easy.
That's a good point.
They don't know.
That's a good point.
They don't know.
They don't know that there's a better way. So that could actually be quite a good.
But every rich person knows.
Wealth redistribution within crypto. You're sending it to the least knowledgeable, most noob users. Good point. That's a really good point.
For sure, because whales do not use that function. Period.
Absolutely.
Period. Like end of story. They probably don't even know what it is. That's what people don't. People think the experience of crypto is the same for everyone. It's not. Like it starts on your phone, right? Usually it starts on your phone, goes to a separate computer, and then the Raspberry freaking Pis, and then the freaking Trezors, and then you have 6 fucking Trezors laying around, and you're like, fuck, I gotta plug all these in to figure your shit out, and you get all confused. Like but it changes over time to the point where those guys don't even know what the MetaMask fucking server looks like. They probably go straight to Etherscan because it's just more security. If you just keep it to Etherscan only, that's alpha though. Like that's alpha, like that, because the MetaMask function is horrid. Some people don't know that, but like you get like 17% racked, like off the top.
Oh
Like,
yeah, it's
disgusting.
bad. It's bad.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's fucking bad.
Tangent.
By the way, can I just throw in HEX almost 14 cents now, and Bitcoin 44K.
Wow.
Guys, like I might go 24-hour pump stream. My car, guys, I still have not gotten a car from the insurance agency. It's ridiculous. I'm like calling these people. It's been 5 days. My car got ran over by a drunk driver. He admitted it, and they still won't take fault for it.
Oh, this could be interesting. This could be the start potentially. We'll see.
My lawyer was called yesterday. 100%. 100%.
Keep us posted. I had a question for Tangent, but GRC, that's a very good insight that only noobs use that. Tangent, I wanted to hear your thoughts on PulseX, right? We tend to look at it through the lens of Pulse, right? As in, this is how we can swap them, right? Or maybe we have some ERC20s and we can swap those through. But I don't think enough people talk, and I don't honestly, like, I'm in my own mind a lot. So I'm asking people what they're paying attention to so that I can understand, because I'm in my own mind most of the time and I'm not like consuming a lot of stuff at this moment. But a bridge and a DEX combined allows people to go in both directions. So you can be on Pulse and just use PulseX to swap back and forth, or you can be on ETH, come back and forth at will. And that back and forth, I don't think enough people talk about. To add, that could be tremendously valuable as another means to route through switching between ERCs, right? Like, so you get ERC20 and the ERC20 that you'd like to switch to, you could go to something else or come over to PulseX. And because the routing might be cheaper over here, that could also provide an incentive, right? And I don't know enough about it to really talk on it more than that, but I'd like to hear what your thoughts are on that.
From my experience, bridges are quite slow and require like a lot of confirmations. So you certainly, it would be restrictive if you were trying to do like complex logic that was like routing, like in terms of like bringing it over, like getting a better deal, or like say using cheaper fees. And then if you want to go back over and end up back on the original chain, I think that might be problematic for the current state of tech. But who knows, in the future it could get better. Like bridges could get faster or so does that answer your question?
Yeah, I was just curious if you had thought about that at all. Like, if but I don't know enough about the nuances to I see it as potentially being something, but I don't know.
At the moment, you kind of bridge and then stay on that side for a while doing your shit. Like, I think like that's typically how I see other people in the DeFi space at the moment with bridging. There's not a lot of sort of like high frequency bridging stuff, but I guess it's possible if because
of the friction and or cost is too high, is what right from my understanding of what you're saying.
I think
that could change.
Richard talked about it. Richard talked about it once, where he was saying that basically because the other chain is not native to the chain that needs to work out whether or not you should be credited with these synthetic assets, there needs to be a higher level of care or like more confirmations to make absolutely sure that someone's not gaming the shit. Whereas with things going on the same chain, the network can verify itself, so to speak. Like, so it's much quicker to know whether something's legit internally on the network natively. Whereas once you're talking about cross-chain compatibility, it's it just takes more time or more confirmations to make sure that no one's doing any weird shit and trying to game it. Yeah.
Can you pull a comment up?
All right. Yeah. So I think what Sam's saying is that he sees the value in people transferring ETH assets to Pulse to do all their trading for cheap and then switch back later.
Yes.
So
yes.
So not
that's what I was trying to. I wasn't that explains it.
That'll cost money. That'll cost ETH. You know what I mean? Like that would cost a lot of ETH to bridge between that back.
Well, no, but the liquidity pool.
If you
right,
just
I
do
don't
it as
know.
if you just do it as one big lump sum transfer and then do all your shit and then just transfer it all back, I guess.
Yes, because that's exactly it. So K4K, thank you for that.
Why would they
comment.
do
That's
that
awesome.
though?
Because it's cheaper. Because you could get better prices, which will even out over time.
You're
between
assuming the person wants to stay over in ETH chain and hang out there. That's their spot. So you're saying
Yes.
like the guys that are like, I'm staying over here. I don't know much about this. They'll say, oh, there's this cheap alternative way to come back and get around. Well, that's good for us anyway.
No, correct. But I don't think nobody's talking about. Nobody's factoring that into the Pulse X. Like,
yeah, that's definitely a
talking
percentage.
points.
There's definitely going to be a percentage for that. I would say nobody would argue that. I hadn't thought about it. That's for darn sure. But that's a good
small, but
what
it's
do you
going to be
think about that,
something.
K4K? What do you think about what we were saying there? Do you think that's something that could be a potential benefit? Do you think that's something that could be a potential roundabout way for them doing money? Or does that look a little unrealistic to you if you put it on paper? Let us know what you think.
When the fees were like psycho high, I did a similar thing with Matic, but my concern was, and this was like a local concern that probably won't apply in the future that often or really at all, was I didn't know when Pulse Chain was going to launch, and I knew that. So I sent USDC over onto Polygon, and I was trading HEX over there. But I knew that if Pulse got forked, like if Pulse launched, then all the assets that I have on Polygon are not getting doubled. So that was like a factor that I was considering for doing it otherwise. And I guess I wish I had done that for longer, because at one point I thought, oh, Pulse is coming up. I'm going to bring all my shit back to the main chain, like to the ETH chain. And obviously that was like months and months and months premature. So I've been copying freaking Ethereum fees for trading HEX against USDC ever since, when I could have been making those same trades for nearly for free over on Matic.
Okay.
Do you see what he's saying?
That's because I see that potentially being like GRC you mentioned and K4K. That's how I see it, because there's going to be a decent percentage of people who are just going to want to stay with ETH because that's the legacy. But they've got a big bag. This new thing comes out. They're like, okay, I can put 10%, 5%, 14% into this new thing, but majority of my bag is going to stay with legacy because that's where my mind space is, right? Legacy to them is ETH for them. So they're not going to put all their bag over there, but they could come over right through this bridge, switch between different pulses. Then Pulse is going to have a pair. Say if they switch from like ETH, to Pulse, right? Then they come over and they take that Pulse to a transfer to a different ERC, take that ERC, and now they have that.
That's what we call a pumpamental in crypto. So you call those pumpamentals. Like anything that helps pump the coin that's kind of like pointless, but like didn't have to be involved, but like what is there to help. That would be like another example of like something that like not inadvertently happens, that will just pump the price, because the Pulse will be getting used all that time. Pulse X, the whole liquidity pool. So that all that stuff, volume, again, all you want is volume in Pulse X. Like you want it to be the highest volume, because then they're earning the most fees and then people want to go there more. But like I'm telling you, people, why they're going to say this is the same shit. We're just doing it for free. Like, what the fuck? Why are we going back to the ETH chain? Like, I'm telling you, like, for these guys see value. They're snipers, dude. Like they're snipers. It doesn't matter what anyone says. Yeah, some big money can't move, I guess, because of the rules. But these guys are snipers, brother. Like, they know what the fuck's going on.
Actually,
Financial advisor from the area about Pulse chain, and he knew what it was. And he does all the legacy shit around here.
You know how earlier I was talking about those vampire attacks on LPs and stuff, and how the LPs will just run to wherever the incentive tokens are the highest, and then they'll just bail when they're not distributing them. That does speak to the how fickle. There's no loyalty in crypto, right? People will just go immediately to where they perceive either the best opportunities are for gains, or the whatever other, which is part of the point, right? It's meant to be crypto is meant to be robust against everyone acting in their self-interest. That is the point. That's part of general crypto game theory, is selfishness actually strengthens the system rather than weakens it. And so I think that definitely points in the direction that you're talking about, that both of you are talking about, that Pulse should theoretically become quite an attractive proposition for people to bring their economic energy to, because it will have these attributes that are favorable.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I appreciate Tangent your time. I've got to run. I've got another thing in a couple minutes. I got to use the bathroom. So GRC, I'll talk to you soon. If you guys are in the chat, 62 is the highest I've seen this since we started. So thank you so much. If you guys like some of the stuff we're talking about, if you want to check out, I'm gonna pitch my shit. If you want to check out my channel, just use the name and I'll comment it below here. You can just search for this. And on YouTube, and I'm putting out crypto content more like K4K in terms of I pre-film it and then release it, but I'm coming on here live with GRC. So appreciate you guys. I'll talk to you soon. Thank you, Tangent, for all the
Cheers,
insights.
man. Good chatting with you.
Yes, awesome chatting. I'll talk to you guys soon.
See ya.
Yeah, brother. Dude, what the frick is going on? Let's pull up this Bitcoin chart.
I hope my answers were reasonable, man. Some of this stuff is some of the time I have deep thinks about crypto in general and get to the point where I'm just like, oh man, is this shit just fucking...
Well, you're so far down the rabbit hole that you don't even remember what the rabbit hole looks like. It's
yeah, I don't remember what the entrance looks like.
You're down in it. You've been in it for so long. That's why you always say things, and I refer you back to the pleb. I'm like, you got to keep thinking that way, because you get oh, people are smart, people are doing things accurately, people are thinking clearly, and it's no one is thinking clearly. It's a very small percentage of people, and we just happen to be entrepreneurial young men in this world. You know what I mean? So we're focused up because you just know it's there. And what else are we gonna do? Just do nothing? This is life. You just keep moving forward, keep doing stuff. I guess I don't know what else to do personally.
Yeah. Something you said earlier reminded me of not a story, but just a comment that a friend made to me once, where he was high up in a bank, and I asked him, I wasn't asking him for stock tips or any bullshit like that, but I was asking him if other people ask him for that sort of shit. And he said, yeah, people all the time ask me for just general financial tips, because they're you're high up in a bank, what should I do? And he was talking about basically the risk reward profile of providing someone with any sort of financial advice. And he said, your upside your upside potential at a maximum is that person saying thank you to you when they get rich or whatever. And downside is you lose a friend. Potential maximum downside is you lose a friend. So he was I'm not prepared to do it, because it's I'm risking someone being upset at me for zero potential financial gain. That person doesn't split the profits with you when they get mad rich off your tip and shit. And so it's hard, because in crypto obviously we promote the coins that we like the most, but I guess that risk has.
We could be getting scammed. If everyone wants to know the truth, there is some percentage of truth, and Richard would admit this himself. Anyone can get scammed. He would have to be really freaking psychotic to the point where it was he was a serial liar and an absolute fucking sociopath.
Oh man.
And set up everything and the test net with his devs, but somehow wanted to inversely wreck all his buddies that love.
I would be genuinely surprised. I would be oh damn. But you know what? If it was to ever happen, and I really don't think that it would, I would fucking own it. I promise.
I would too.
I promise. I would be I got fooled by that shit. I thought that shit was legit, and it did turn out the way that
there would be documentaries about how intrinsic.
Oh, bro!
About how manipulative and how deep could a man go to just ruin his own life because someone's gonna blow his brains out. I'm sure he's also a human. Let's get that straight. His flesh also pumps blood through his body. And he's just walking around. People forget that about Richard. Sometimes I'm I can always imagine Richard taking a big old shit. And I'm just
they think he's a god. They think he's a god.
One of the guys.
So I don't know if you heard my recommendation. There's I think it's a 9-part YouTube documentary series by the BBC on a crypto founder and the documentary is called The Crypto Queen, and it's basically there are some parallels that can be drawn between the way that people were behaving in that community and the way that hexagons behave in terms of like really the positive image of the founder and like it like that, you know, it's just very interesting. Like I'm not saying that this is like a predictive story of what's going to happen, but I think it's worth people watching it so that they can see how a lot of people can genuinely believe that someone is like literally a smart guru. Like this chick had all the same, she was perceived to have all the same attributes as Richard. Intelligent, well-intentioned, ethical.
Is she gone? Where is she?
Looking out for all the like best shit, wanting to better the world, all that shit. Like tick all the boxes on the list of the things that people look up to Richard for, and she fucking scammed. Like it was a scam. She rugged that shit. Like it was a fucking scam. And
she did. What a savage.
And basically did like disappearing act. Like fucking.
Was she hot?
Like I think she was reasonable. Like not.
Yeah,
like,
so
not,
she knows she won't be bothered. But you got to think about that too. There's social equity in being a woman.
Man, I think if people are mad enough, gender goes out.
I know, but like at some point, like.
But you are right. Yeah.
Like if
also,
if she was super mega hot, everyone would just be like, "Whoopsie, we fucked up." But like if she's
without like, I don't want to plot spoil, but I think, and I don't have got a vague recollection. I think at one point there was suspected that there was some kind of like Russian underworld affiliation going on or whatever. So she might have thought that she was like also untouchable from that respect. If you've got like gangsters in like as part of your team, or you are a gangster yourself, or I'm not sure. Like I'm not saying she was, but I think there was like rumors or some shit that there was like Russian mafia involvement.
Ooh, was she a plug
in what happened? Like either that they. I'm not sure. Anyway, I shouldn't plot spoil any more than that.
No. I have these
very interesting story though.
I don't want to say this shit on stream because I don't want to FUD Richard. I literally read all his books and retweet all his shit and post all his shit all day long, guys. You know how I feel about Richard. We don't have to. We're just
I want to be clear. I'm not saying that is going to happen to Hex. That's not what I'm saying. I don't.
No, but I'm saying when it
it's just good for people to be. It's good for people to be aware that it is possible for a lot of people to rally around someone and then for that person to actually not be who they say they are.
Hitler did that.
It is a possibility.
I think Hitler did a little something like that one time.
Oh.
Didn't he? I mean, like, it wasn't that his whole shtick? Like, I'm sure he was telling those people good shit. Don't you think, Tangent? I'm serious, though. Think about it. He was probably feeding them the best shit. Like, dude, we're going to the Holy Land or whatever he was preaching at the time. I don't know. He was a horrible guy, obviously.
One of the other things I wanted to say about, when Sam was talking lightly about like sort of like religion and some of the parallels of things that are like worthy takeaways from religion. Reading Eckhart Tolle's book, like that Power of Now thing, definitely gave me, I'm still not religious, but it definitely gave me a higher degree of respect for the original intention of religions before they started being used as a mechanism of control, and that their intention was to point people towards what he is preaching now in a non-religious way of present moment awareness. That was the way that all religions were trying to point to that through these stories. But the thing is, I'm like, why did these motherfuckers have to be so cryptic? They could have just said the shit like the way that Eckhart Tolle does. Like, why are you telling these stories about like shit that happened that is like that you've got to try and like work out what the message is? That's ridiculous.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah. That is. I have a question about like rich people security. Do you know anything about that kind of like? I know you obviously.
Rich people security. Do you mean in terms of like having a team of security detail?
Yeah.
I joke about having a security detail. I joke about that.
Do you
shit.
know anyone that has one? like personally?
I knew there was one guy. It's actually quite a funny story. Like there was basically this. The dude was Russian. Like, not that makes any difference to the story, other than it's like a controversial topic at the moment. Don't want to get your.
He only did it because he's Russian, guys.
I don't want to get your YouTube channel flagged because I'm sure that's
You're
like
good,
a
you're
blacklisted word or
Oh,
whatever.
for
But
sure.
like,
Just the whole country. Yeah,
he did this thing. He did. You might like this story because it involves America as well. So he did this thing where there was this thing back in the day called premium SMS, and so you could pay a higher amount, like, and then that SMS could contain like cricket scores or like weather, or like it might have like a ringtone in it or like a freaking background for your phone. So this is before smartphones where you can just download whatever you want. This was when like phones were limited in their functionality and connectivity. And this dude made a lot of money off doing it. And at the time we thought his shit was legit, that he was just like, premium SMS business. And he's just like, it was just very successful. But what he was actually doing was this thing called auto signing, where like he'd get databases of people's phone numbers and actually bypass the shit where they actually need to come to his website and sign up. And he would basically sign them up directly to the back end. And then they would get sent these premium SMSs and charged for them. And then they would basically have to complain, like they would start complaining to the telcos. And then when it became a big enough issue, eventually like telecommunications ombudsman got involved over here in Australia. But this dude made a mistake of expanding his shit to America. And I'm not saying he was the only person doing this, by the way. I'm sure this was like maybe being done by other people at the time. But he expanded his shit over to America, did the same thing, got this company to basically like auto sign up all these people. And he is now looking down the barrel of a 60-year jail sentence, like three like back-to-back life sentences for like telecommunications fraud and like all of these like, like crimes where, because you're like taking advantage of consumers and like basically scamming hard. But Australia, he probably would have like almost got away with it if he hadn't expanded over to the US. And so that dude, when he got really, really, really rich, he had like 24-hour security. So if you drove past his house, there was always security guards standing out the front. And I guess you just get paranoid when you've got that much money that someone is going to try and like. But I just don't think people think like that. I think you just got to chill the fuck out. Like,
rappers joke about that, in the United States. Rappers joke about all these guys with securities. They always get effed over by their securities. Like, it's always the reason they get effed over. Like, that's like a little like underground. Like, you better have your homies watching you, because like if you hire they're gonna get you. I listen to a lot of hip hop in the region, and that's like a common theme. Is like, oh, you got your security. Well, like I got my blood brothers with me. Like, it's not the same thing. Like, because and then they say that's the exact reason you lose. That's what they also say.
It is kind of like waving a big ass flag that's like, I've got some shit worth taking. Like it's not only to the security detail that you're hiring, but everyone else as well. Like everyone knows that you think that you've got some shit.
At that point, you live in a gated community, right?
Yeah. I liked what someone said. Was it Tendies? Said you just hide in plain sight. You just move to an area where everyone's a millionaire or everyone's a multimillionaire, and then it's just normal. Like you don't need to do the like I'm in this area with security. Just go somewhere else. Maybe. I like there's rap songs where he's like, where people are like, God is my bodyguard. Was that Tupac? I think Tupac said God is my bodyguard, because other rappers had like security and shit, and he was just like, I don't need security.
Yeah, it's like, and then
that statement. If you remove, this is something that going a little bit back to the kind of like God shit is. I tell people, if you're not religious, whenever you hear the word God or like whatever the other words for gods are, just replace that word with the word universe, and then vice versa. If you're religious and you hear me say the universe, you just in your mind switch the word out to God, and then we're talking the same language. Like that, everything we say is going to make sense to each other. Do you know what I mean? Oh, you're muted.
Sorry, Wales entered the chat, and I just wanted to ask him if he wanted the link to come on in, because you guys are slacking on the likes today. So I got like another 30 minutes to burn, guys. That's amazing, though. I love sticking around. Oh, wait, that would be all-time high. This conversation seemed a lot longer than it was. It hasn't even been that long. It's only been 2 hours. Guys, Wales, if you want to come in, I'll send you a link real quick. We're talking about security detail, and we're talking about if that's actually a thing that people do. Like, okay, tangent. So when you get to a super mega rich level, you probably take that plunge, though, right? Like, like some ridiculous amounts. But again, that depends on the kind of job you have, too. Like, if you're going to be a public figure, which some people do, right? Like Rackham, I don't know if he's rich or not, but he seems like the richest guy ever. He clearly is out and about. Do you know what I mean?
I think I would allocate a disproportionately high amount of money in my security budget to things that are not corruptible. Like you said, like less human stuff and more like individual services. So like you could have like monitored alarm systems, monitored security systems. Like you kind of like, I guess, decentralize so rather than having one person or group of people who are in charge of keeping you and your family protected, you put procedures and protocols in place that would work, that no one's incentivized within that structure to roll you. You've got independent services that are doing like, I mean, I've got a monitored alarm right now, and they don't come to your house and shit, but they monitor whether the alarm's going off or not, if power's being cut to it and that sort of shit. And stuff like that, you're less likely that it's not like they're in a position where they can screw you over, really. And they don't know the other layers of your security. So I'd like make sure that no one team or person knows your full security stack. So they don't know if they disable your alarm because they're in charge of that. They don't know that you don't have a badass guard dog when they come around to roll your shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, guard dogs are also cool. Guard dogs are like the one thing, like people hate dogs. People don't want to F with dogs, like if they're coming up on your shit. But again, I'm literally just thought experimenting, guys. I don't know. This probably will, most people, this would never need to be a thing because, to be honest, I feel like most really rich people don't show their face to everyone all the time. That would be Wales.
Hey, Wales, what's up?
How are you doing, my friend?
Doing the smart thing. How about you?
Is that staking?
No, it's called not showing my face.
Yes. Yes.
Since day one, I've been telling motherfuckers about that shit. And I gotta tell you, I don't know why people thought I was joking. So now anybody that's ever been public on the internet talking crypto, y'all motherfuckers got a security issue moving forward. Congratulations. Sucks to be short-sighted. Can't help you. But sometimes you gotta learn to listen.
Not the Aussies, though, because they're not even allowed to do anything. The Aussies can't even, they'll hit each other with sticks.
Understand something. Nobody plans to get jacked. It just happens.
Yes.
And that's all.
Yes, sir.
And it ain't nothing else about anything. It's not even about judging people for wanting to show themselves on camera. It's a simple fact of the matter. And now you're hearing it in the news all the time where some crypto fuck is getting jacked. So take it as you will.
Well, I'm going to take that opportunity to become a pro because that's what
you better.
I'm going to have to become a pro. And I say that in every one of my thumbnail links that I send out. I say, I am here to become a pro and no less. Even if I don't need to, because I'm on the internet saying this stuff, I'm just going to do it anyway.
I mean, here's the thing. You can be as rich as you want and nobody has to have a clue. That's my style. Or you can be Floyd Mayweather. Let everybody know you got everything. That's a complete opposite. It's one thing to pull up at an event looking a certain way. It's another thing to go to the store in a Bentley. When you talking about going to the corner store. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of shit ignorant people do. So, I've been ignorant, bro. I've already been there and done that. These are the kind of things you learn from as you grow up in life. Because you're used to doing the dumb shit you see on TV.
Absolutely. Wales, I want to ask you a couple of things, Tangent. Feel free to go back to that subject if you have a question. But what do you think about this?
I was just gonna make one last. I was just gonna make one last
Please.
quick comment of like that to help put your mind at ease for anyone who has shown their face. Is I've been genuinely surprised at some of the like discussions that I've had with people, how absolutely clueless they are, especially if they're not within crypto. Like no coiners have absolutely no idea. Like you can step them through it and be like, this coin did a 1000x. So for every $100 you had invested in it, that like would have been this much or whatever. And they've still got, they just don't piece it together. It just doesn't like, it just seems so unrealistic. The gains that are potential that are able to be had in crypto, it just doesn't seem real. So it just doesn't register. So I think you're right though, like as in terms of your outward flashiness is probably more of a factor than like your actual wealth level.
100%, because nobody's gonna know what you got unless you broadcast it. Pro tip.
What were you launching into, GCR?
You were gonna ask.
Oh, so I wanted to ask you, right? Like I got a little excited about the hex pump, but and then everyone was like, "Don't be fighting people," and I was like, I was just excited about the hex pump. Like I wasn't saying that it was going to blow past all-time highs this moment, but I just to people that are like,
and why would that be fun? Why
I don't get that.
He's too excited. He's long. Like,
Bruh, everybody's long.
Yeah, I'm long as fuck.
Everybody in crypto is long. Period. If you're not long, then you're not in crypto. You're trading some other shit, which you're being lied to, and that's not crypto, homie.
Wales is right. Wales is right.
He's so right, and that's true because that's my mindset, right? My mindset is like, oh, the future's great, like I love it, like keep it coming. I don't care if this is a 15% pump and then another 60% dump. I'll just be buying more at the bottom, like that's a freaking crazy man. Like I will be getting a side job. I will be doing all of these things. If it dropped under 10 cents, because guys, I already did this, so I can't just double down on like.
I gotta say something. Shout out to all the guys that spend their time doing TA because it's a fruitless exercise. Straight up. And I spent years doing it. This is how I can. This is why I can say that. I can say that because I spent over a day. I'm a fucking PhD in TA. Everybody can kiss my ass. I don't need to talk about it. I did it for over a decade.
To a degree, I agree with you. I agree with you.
Something for a decade, bro. You just do
the whole time in the market.
Always is greater than timing in the market. Always. That's just a fact, bro. It doesn't matter who you are, because guess what? You can catch that fucking bottom. You can catch that fucking top, and if you sell 2% later, then you're just out. You caught it. You can talk like all the shit you want.
You just can't like the short term moves are just it's a coin flip. It is like it can literally go. It can literally go in either direction, and you can just get rinsed. Like it is, yeah. And then once you expand out to those higher time frames where it does become actually predictable, i.e., crypto as a growth industry is going to go up, then once you're moving to a time frame where you literally are just long holding. It's no longer, it is still technically a trade, but the trade is so long that you're literally just holding. So you're absolutely right. Like it's in terms of your, but I still enjoy doing it. Like
I do it too. It's again, I spent a decade doing it. However, the important thing to realize is as follows: when you're making a long-term investment, what is the utility in technical analysis? Well, the utility is making sure that you're able to maximize the number of coins or whatever that you're trying to allocate. That's it.
So if you're adding and not using DCA, then you would maybe get an advantage from looking at a chart. Yeah.
That is it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
That's the limited utility. Everything else is strictly entertainment because you don't know what's going to actually happen, because somebody can come and say, oh, this looks too bullish. I'm going to go ahead and dump this while everybody bids. Happens all the time. And this is how markets go from bullish one moment to bearish the next. And it's the chart looked, 100% bullish up until that candle.
Yep.
Happens all the time.
Speaking of pumps, we've got 14-cent HEX again and 44K Bitcoin again. We pulled back a little bit and now we're back on.
Now, when I look at the long scale, right, and I'm just going to say this because I don't have any intellectual merit when it comes to like Bitcoin charts or anything, so I don't give a fuck. But like, it looks totally double top bear. Like, if you look at the long, like, I mean, I could pull it up too. Like, I'm not saying it is. Like, I could have two shits. People say the extended theory where the more economic mass is, the longer drawn out the bear market will be, and the less parabolic. I understand that. Like, I totally get that. But like, as far as just looking it back completely at the whole chart, it just looks. So I'm worried about because I don't understand what that will do. I don't know what a real bear market would do to the HEX price. It might do nothing. It might have a good deal with it staying where it's at.
We still not have seen HEX in a like fully hardcore extended bear market, all altcoins wrecked 90+%. You know, Bitcoin retracing to previous
2017, basically,
ATH.
right?
Like, yeah, we have not witnessed how HEX actually performs in that environment yet, because it hasn't happened since it started its existence. And I'm like excited and scared. Like I'm both excited and scared to witness how that is going to play out.
I think I got confidence in the understanding of what HEX is. I think the problem lies in the rest of the market realizing, hey, there's this one thing that isn't down as much as everything else. Because when that scenario develops, I think HEX will by default stand out like it always does. Because what happens is that HEX usually takes the lead on down moves. And just like it takes the lead on down moves, it takes the lead on up moves. Most of it when the whole market is going to turn.
Yeah.
Because that's what I've seen. But I don't talk about that often. But it's something to consider and take into account.
That's very open-minded statement, Miles, and I like it. Like, you know, like that's the kind of talking I like to have because that's legit. Let's be real. Like, none of us can predict the future, but none of us really give a fuck, to be honest. Nobody at this page gives a fuck. No, we don't. We do not. And Wales knows that. Tangent knows that because we understand. We stream all the time.
Yeah.
We understand that they are printing out money. Hyperinflation is disgusting. Right. There's I don't want to say that, actually. That's too political. But like, but there's just, it's hyperinflation. There is no choice. The money must go somewhere. And guess where the money goes? To the plebs, and then they spend it. And then where does it go? To the guys that sit on it.
Yep.
Always.
Always.
Wales.
Yo,
Wales.
as long as you
Wales.
understand. Go
sorry,
ahead.
you go.
No. I was just going to say, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you go. I wanted to ask if you've seen that video from the freaking EU or whatever with that chick that is just going hard. Like
German.
Goes so hard on JT.
Yeah. It's funny, right? Because she's German, but she got no room. She don't got a leg to stand on. None of these politicians do.
But I just like the fact. I just like the fact that it's being publicized, though. That is unacceptable. I'm not looking at whether there's any hypocrisy in her statement. Like there probably is, like you said, all politicians. But I was just excited that someone actually called it out and was like, that is ridiculous. Like what you did, son, is ridiculous. Like,
yeah, I get it, bro. But again, at the end of the day, you know, the reality is all these politicians are on the same team. Period.
Yeah.
You know, so let's not forget that.
Yes.
They're not doing us any favors by telling us shit we already fucking know.
Yes.
So she can suck my dick. And so can the rest of them motherfuckers. Because their time has come, bro. This whole idea and this whole notion of political power is done, homie. This shit gotta go. It doesn't work. How many times do we gotta see the same stupidity arise?
Oh man, it is painful. It is painful to watch.
It's dumb.
Imagine if you had a friend that dumb that every weekend they went out and just did the most dumbass shit, and you just have to like watch him do it, and just, that's how painful this shit is.
Yep.
It is painful to watch good men fall into false advertising. I do agree with that.
Happens all the time. And I'm gonna tell you, as a young person, Jim, right, you gotta understand, over time, the reality of life is as follows. You're always gonna have so-called friends, guys that think they could tell you what to do and how to think and shit like that. Those motherfuckers ain't your friends. The motherfucker that's your friend is a motherfucker that's gonna tell you the hard truth, tell you the shit you don't want to hear. Say, hey man, you're fucking up. You need to pull your head out of your ass. Or hey man, you should think about doing this. Or like that's your fucking friend.
Like while simultaneously not judging you for your
Correct.
decisions and mistakes. Yeah,
Yeah,
nice.
because we're human, bro. Like I'm gonna make mistakes. You're gonna make mistakes. Tangent's gonna make mistakes. We're fucking not robots. We're not programmed to be perfect because the world is variable. And this is why having integrity, having morals, having principles, having basic elementary values really help you get along in life because you don't get lost. Like I remember when I used to just let the streets tell me what to do. Not a good look. You know what I'm saying? This is why I'm 37 and still busting my ass. Because when you don't think, the world thinks for you. It puts you where it wants you.
Yeah.
So you have to make the conscious decision to remove yourself from people that are not conducive to your future wants. And this even includes girls, bro. Like, don't get swayed by the pussy. Because that's
Guilty.
what I did. Yeah, I spent a long
Guilty
time.
as charged.
Hey, I spent a long time wasting time on women.
Oof.
Not realizing that I was wasting time.
Money. Oof.
Mhm.
So much money.
Everything. Yo, time is the equivalent scale of all value. Right? Once you understand that, you understand why there's nothing better than HEX. Because HEX literally forces you to benefit from time if you want to. Otherwise, you don't. You're just like everybody else. And that's the difference. You know, who understands that and who doesn't, right? Very few people. This is why there's only but so many billionaires and trillionaires. So it's a lot. It's a bag, right? But we gotta take all of it into account. I'll be right back, man. I forgot I got something in the freezer. Fuck. Hold on. I'll be right back.
Sounds like it might be a bottle that,
Yeah.
like if it's a beer or something.
It's
like
an ADA
explode.
Maxi who's in the freezer. ADA Maxi. He keeps them in there. He brings them out for streams.
Quickly cool that shit down. I don't know what that is, by the way. Is that a type of drink? Like, is it alcoholic?
What, an ADA Maxi? I'm talking about a Cardano Maxi. That means like a human.
Oh,
freezer.
it's one of those like lockable one like chest freezers, and it's not turned on, and he just like gimp, just full gimp style, just locks the ADA Maxi in there, comes out with like a ball gag in their mouth on a leash, brings them on the stream.
Yeah, he's got a malt liquor in the freezer. That's what we think. Whales dropping truth bombs. Yeah, guys, Whales really does drop.
Malt liquor in the freezer. So that's what y'all think about me when I'm not around. Y'all stupid.
I said
Oh,
malt
man.
liquor's getting a little too.
I haven't drank a malt liquor in a while, though. It's not a bad idea.
Me neither. Yeah, I used to, when I was in college, Tangent, they used to strap two of these ginormous with duct tape. If you were young, they would strap ginormous bottles of malt liquor to your hands so you couldn't move your hands, and you had to drink them all before they would take them on duct tape to get the duct tape off. So you had to finish both of them. When I was like 120 pounds in freaking college.
And they're 40 ounce, yeah?
Oh, they're just like ginormous. They're
40 fluid ounce.
yeah, just
like
one of them
massive
big
ones.
motherfuckers. And there's
I
two
think over here we call them King Browns.
Yeah, it's malt liquor over here, I guess. I can't remember the type I used to drink though. I'm trying to think of the names. It was kind of gross, but I mean, at the same time, if you slow sip it,
I used to drink, the obvious American ones. St. Ides. Well, that's not really malt liquor. That's some other shit. O English. And then there's another one called Mickey's. And there's another one, so I can't remember the name of that one. But those are the main two I remember.
What was weed like when you were getting coming up?
Like what was different? It's just different strains, and they all keep evolving because they're always changing. So I think the question you're trying to ask is it more potent now than before, and I don't think it's more potent now than before. I think it's less potent now.
Wow, interesting.
Because if it's not pure, it's diluted, right? Everything is the same. Even weed, there's no different. Unless it's a pure strain, then it's diluted. It's a hybrid of some sort. So it can't be as potent unless it's literally made to be as potent. Right? Because then you're playing with math you got no control over at that point.
Guys, on one of the Uniswaps, Hex is currently at $1.41.
No fucking
Like,
way.
Dude,
like as in
stop.
obviously it's one of those low liquidity ones, but
Yeah.
legit, like the chart is still up there.
It's got to
I'll
be
share my-
V1. It's got to
Someone
be.
pull something
It
up.
must be
Tangent, pull
V1.
something up.
I'll share this screen.
No, it's not V1. What the hell are you looking at?
Check this out. So this is on Aurochs. Can you see that?
Oh, I don't look at
Yes,
that.
sir.
I don't know what that is.
So Aurochs is just the it's like the equivalent of Trading View. So
Got you.
I
So
think
we got to figure out what contract that is.
So this is
0x some shit. 6 something.
So this one's 0x2b5 and ending in EEB39.
That's
It's
an
not
actual
V1
contract,
or
bro.
V2.
That's an actual contract address. I don't
Holy
think that's
shit.
right. I don't think that's right.
Weird. Also maybe it's just listing, so that doesn't give us an idea of which Uniswap it is. So I don't know where this is pulling data from, but look, this is the 1 hour chart. You guys can see this, right?
Yeah. But
See how
V1
the
and
pri-
V2 aren't showing that, just so you know.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah. So
So
we're
this
still
thing
good.
is either glitching out, because man, I flicked to this chart, I almost lost my mind. I was
Naturally. Like, hold on, what the fuck just happened?
That's a very prominent candle.
Yeah, to say
Yeah.
the least.
Yeah.
this is the chart that had those crazy wicks on it. I don't think I can trust this chart anymore.
It looks like Orca's
this
calling it a nonsense wick.
This
So
is
you-
definitely not happening, right? But normally with the wicks, it goes up, but then it comes straight back down. But this is staying.
Yeah,
the
it's just
price
stuck
is
there.
staying on.
Let's look at it in 5 minutes and just check.
I'll give it a refresh and just see if it makes a difference.
Sometimes it won't.
On
How
8
good-
on 8
how
hex,
good-
it says hex is 44 cents. So
The
on
hell?
8 hex, it says hex is 44
That
cents.
gotta be a typo.
App hex. I'm sorry.
Oh, look at that candle now. It's even fatter now. Holy shit.
Oh fuck.
This is good TV anyway.
What the
This is
fuck?
good radio. Where
Someone's getting their data. Someone's getting their data.
Holy
from
smoke!
some
It does say
fucking-
44 cents. The hell?
yeah. That's what he always says the right shit.
The hell is going on?
That's what I'm saying.
Thumbs
Yeah.
up.
Oh, we got some shit going on.
That's
here,
how
boys.
liquidity. That's liquidity's fucking the market up. That V1, V2 liquidity fucking the market up. Or V2, V3. Excuse
Yes.
me.
This is what Richard always talks about. That low liquidity, baby. It's to get ready for the pump.
Yo,
Dude, when
holy
did this
shit.
happen?
I think the
God,
pump
God.
happened already and we missed it, bro.
Yeah, Wales is right. Wales is
Yo,
right.
oh shit! So check this out. Uniswap pools dropped 30 million in Hex overnight. There's 30 million less Hex available overnight.
You want to know why? Because they're getting ready for the fork and they want to have their shit out of those pools. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. They're going to pull all that shit out at some point, and this is probably what's happening. And what I would assume is they know more than us because they probably have a lot of money.
Well, it seems like it's a domino effect. First, one market is skyrocketing, then another, then another. So we'll see.
Maybe some people are chit-chatting in a Telegram somewhere. And
So this one still shows just under 14 cents. It's just chilling.
Crypto gains. Elliot Brand, welcome to the chat, brother. We're looking at absolutely parabolic stuff that we might think is glitching, but who knows in the Hex game.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Keep it going.
By the way, a few streams ago, I drew this blood red arrow as a request for Richard to pump it along that kind of trajectory. And
Jesus watching.
it little bit late, but it came.
Somebody
it came
was,
good,
right?
pretty much. Like
It could be
happened.
right on top. Kill Patrick Wick openly admitted to buying and called CMC out for gatekeeping. Over 200K followers on Twitter. He says it's a Kill Patrick Wick.
Kilpatrick.
Is that
That's the streamer name.
Yeah, I guess it's a guy's name, someone's name. He says openly admitted to buying and called CMC out for gatekeeping over 200K followers on Twitter. Are those
Oh,
grassroots
that
followers?
guy bought followers, bro. Relax. That guy ain't
Yeah,
no
that's
real.
what I was gonna ask.
He ain't got no real 200 followers, man. Look
That's
at the
what I
rest
was
of his
gonna
tweets. Yeah,
That's
motherfucker
what
ain't got no engagement unless it's a Hex tweet. That dude ain't got no 200.
And I want Clay from Nomics. You're probably watching this right now. I would like you to know that I get more engagement than you, and I have 500 subs. So you're a piece of crap.
Wait, check this
Literally,
out.
I looked at the numbers. He has 150K followers on Twitter, and my tweets get more numbers than he does, and I have like 3K. He's a total fucking sellout loser.
This is a chart of total cap, and we are pushing up on 2 trillion.
Yeah, I
Shit's
know.
about to get trill.
Yeah, I know, Tangent, but what if it, like, doesn't this seem like normal too? Like, at some point, these pumps happen before the way back down. If we're looking at, like, just like Richard always says, like, how many times has that occurred? Look right back, like, another 2 inches.
I mean, I was looking at this downtrend here with these 2 red lines.
Oh, true.
And we have broken out, turned that shit into resistance, and now we're moving up. So
wow.
That was from the peak of the market at like 3 trillion. So we went from 3 trillion, 50% retrace, all the way down to basically 1.5 trillion. And then, so yeah, the crypto market halved from early November last year, and then double bottom or whatever. And then, yeah. So I'm hopeful. This is one of the main things that I've hoped / disagreed with Richard on him calling when he called that Bitcoin top, and said that we were going to go into a bear market. I was like, no. So hopefully we can hold this shit up.
And with the staking protocol, I'm just going to say this could not be true. Wales, correct me if not. But with the staking protocol that we have and how amazing it is and how many people have bought into it and the amount of money I see getting staked for 15 years, you have to assume that the price chart's going to move different at some point, right? Like, I mean, it obviously has, right? But like, it's going to continue because I see hundreds of millions of dollars getting staked for 15 years.
Yeah, there's going to come a point in time where the market is going to have to react to the supply shock that's currently ongoing.
Actually, Wales, I'd like to get your opinion on something, because there was basically like a noob that was looking into HEX and made the comment that they were like, oh, why is only 10% of the HEX staked? That makes it look like, not many people are staking. And obviously we know the answer to that. It's because of obviously with the OA not staking, a lot of the supply is not staked.
Right.
So do you think that could be a problem going forward when people look at that as a statistic? If they don't have a hexagon to explain to them why that is, people are going to go, this is actually this is not very locked up. It's mainly liquid. I think you can think
that about any metric, because if you don't understand a system in its entirety, you don't understand a single aspect of that system.
Good answer. That's a good answer. That you could make that F up on any metric if you don't understand what is, and don't look into why it's at that level. Yeah, good point. Right. That's a very, very good answer.
Yeah, because the thing about it is no system is designed to work as a bunch of individual things, doing their own thing. They're designed to, oh look, the price came back down.
Yeah, it came back down.
So they're all designed to work in a cohesive fashion, right? Even though they are individual pieces to the system. So that's to say, you're not going to have an element within a network or a protocol or formula if it doesn't belong, right? So they serve a purpose, they serve a function. The question is, what role does it play? And that's what most people aren't willing to put in the work to figure out. They just, oh, well, the other systems are showing X, so this must be bad. That's not really how it works. That's how many people get left behind. Everybody is ready to run to the promises, not to the actual finished products. And there's value in that. And we see it every day, because what ramps and what dumps? Those promises. There's no dumping and ramping over here. It's just long periods of time of price action. That's it. So it's not quite the same. Does that make sense though?
Yeah, that makes sense.
Cool.
I'm still a little bit concerned about the Godwick.
This one did. This one.
For all we know, that was just a glitch in some code on the back end of this trading software or the chart software. Like, it's hard to say.
Interesting timing though, with the parabolic giant green dildo underneath of it. But guys, you know, obviously anything can happen. Everyone has seen the charts on go.hex.com. I mean, not go.hex.com, the hex.vision. Like, you know, if you really see where we're at, we're in a good space. This is normal. It all feels normal to me. I mean, when people tell me, and I'm just going to bring it like back to the noob level, because when people tell me that 85% dumps are normal, and they say it every day for a year and a half, and then I have a bag of something that goes down 75%, I don't care. I do not care. Does that make sense? Like, does it make sense that everyone freaks out every single time, but no one does enough research to shut the fuck up? Seriously.
But that's how humans work, bro.
Yeah, I still find it does impact me a little bit. Like, not enough to fuck up my day, but it does. Like, if I wake up and I look at my, if I look at my shit when I wake up and it's down, it doesn't fuck up my day, but I'm definitely not as pumped as if I looked at it and it was up.
But your hex not as much. With your hex bag, you don't care as much, I bet, because most of it, I'm just assuming a good amount of it is staked. I don't want to assume anything, of course.
But I guess the fear is that, well,
my fear is that I'll never get another chance.
I guess the fear that I have when things are trending down is that if there comes a time in the not too distant future that I do want to buy something with whatever crypto asset it is, and it's still like trashed, then that's no fun, you know? So
I've never sold a crypto asset, so I guess I understand what you're saying. I just have never experienced any kind of back and forth. It's always, for me, been one-sided, right? I just put fiat into crypto. I don't know. And of course, you would assume the same in the position that I was in, probably. Like, you wouldn't be going in and out if your bags had no merit to do so.
You've never sold a single crypto asset. Never. Holy shit, dude.
He's new, man. He's really new.
Well, I bought Bitcoin at the COVID dip. I bought Bitcoin at 3,400, the bottom of the COVID dip. I was in a paid course, and I was just learning, no knowledge, zero knowledge. Like, when I say zero knowledge, I was starting from scratch. Like, what is Bitcoin? What is going on here? And then, of course, a paid course. It cost me $800 or $700 or something.
What?
Yes, we can talk about that more specifically.
Oh, I need to get my course done. I'm working because I'm a sucker, apparently.
Well, no, these guys have had bad press since.
I'm not gonna have bad press because
I know you're not.
Shit. Like, I'm actually like, I can't even put fake information on paper. Like, imagine that.
The only difference between Wales, a course that Wales did, and these guys is Wales would never tell you something he never looked into.
Right.
We know that about Wales, so it's like whatever. Like, nobody would even.
Well, I wouldn't try to sell it to y'all. I mean, y'all already know this shit. This is for like noobs, right? Like what Coffee does is like I think his is like $200 and it's like some real bare bones, very basic type of course. You know, it's just like for noobs to figure it out how to get hex, and that's it. You know, but within that they learn all these different aspects of crypto, which aren't really central to what we do, but it's important to know, right? What I have in mind is something a little different because people need to understand the bigger picture, right? Like, this would be some full-fledged, sledgehammer type. We're breaking everything down and rebuilding it up type of thing, because everything that most people know is just wrong. Like, flat out, 90% of the information crypto related out there is wrong. If it's not coming from a hexagon, it's more than likely wrong. And that's crazy.
Because hexagons look into stuff, because then
also they've been like schooled on some of these basic fundamental aspects by Richard Hart, where he drops
the education is the key, because it's not just Richard. You got so many guys in this community that just know this shit inside and out.
I'm giving Richard credit for the initial push, and then you're right that the community has rallied around that. Yeah.
So here's the thing, right? Everybody loves Richard Hart, but I think that what people miss is that there is no reason to love Richard Hart. The real reason is to love yourself, because Richard Hart is ultimately a reflection on what you see and what you feel and what you understand to be. So here's this person that's applauding you who is successful for doing the same thing he already did, or is egging you along in the same path, in essence. Is that making sense? So I think that because we're striving to be where he's at, a lot of people just blindly applaud and follow and maybe mention him while ignoring the rest. But the reality is that we all make Richard who he is. Without us, there is no Richard Hart. And he
Absolutely.
says, you know, just like there's no country without people. It's just land. He said it himself. And it's the same exact thing. We propel Richard because he propels us. There is no hexagon without all of us, right? And this is something that's very important to understand, because people think this is cult and all that. No, man, that's how it works. When we're fighting as a unit, we're all gonna be there. We're all gonna be ready. We're all gonna be willing, and we're all gonna be able and capable. And
That's a
that's
good point too. I
yeah.
didn't think about that so much. Like we would all stand on each other's front lines. It's psychologically, you know what I mean?
It is psychological though.
Yeah.
I'll defend you all day and Tangent. I have no reason not to. As far as I know, we're on the same side of the line. That's why we talk every day. We intermingle. We say have our pleasantries and whatnot, right? I mean, I don't think it's rocket science, honestly. I mean, I feel like if you're going to be open with your political views at this point in time and be honest about who you are, then I think the other persons are they should be more than willing to do the same.
Yeah.
Right.
I like that. I like that baseline assumption that you assume that people are well intentioned unless you see something
Otherwise.
that indicates otherwise.
Yeah, you got to, because otherwise, I used to do the opposite, and all that would do is just close doors left and right. There's no progression there. So when you find a community like this where people seem to be typically good actors, and you got to act on that. You gotta let that guide you. You're gonna run into some duds, of course, but that's life, right? Just like I found nothing but bad apples along the way, I did find a good one here and there, right? And it is just bumping into that into that so-called good enough times to really try to get it. It's difficult. Like good guys that end up with bad girls, or good guys that end up with bad guys that end up with good girls. That those relationships never work, because the girl's trying to make the good girl's trying to make the bad guy good, and even vice versa, right? It works female, male, doesn't matter. But the idea is that you have good trying to convert bad to good, and that's a self act. That's not something that somebody can really force you to do, even though they want you to do it, and maybe you do want to be with them, and whatever the case is, right? Relationships are different. But here's what people don't understand about relationships. And this is something I've learned along the way. Relationships are difficult because you're not being open to understanding what you're doing wrong. Because it takes two to tango. And if there's friction in communication, it's because both people are typically not assessing what's being spoken. Or somebody's at fault and they're not willing to own up to it. And what that means is that person or that individual does not want to grow, and you can't control that. So when you run into something like that, you gotta just make a decision. What do I got to do? Do I want to stay here and deal with this, or am I gone? And that's how relationships continue going.
Yeah, the freaking God candle. I took a Snapchat of it as a little thing and put the tag of this underneath. But guys, thanks so much for the 100 likes. I'm not there yet, guys. I meant to say smash the like. Smash the like. We got 8 more likes. I'll stay on as long as these guys want to talk. I do not give a rat's ass. I have no car. Insurance company is still wrecking me. Absolute scum of the earth.
Serious?
Dude, it's been a week and I cannot get them to pay for a rental car for me. And the dude was wasted, smashed into my car while I was sleeping. And the insurance company was like, we can't give fault to him until he signs this paperwork or like engages with us. And it's just like, I'm going to sue the shit out of this guy. Like, he was hammered drunk. He got caught like an hour later, and now he's just like not answering the phone, and he's just like, it's silly. That's all I'm saying. And then I got to go.
It's fucked, is what it is. It's not silly. It's fucked.
I told the girl she needs to quit her job if she has any moral integrity. I told every single person I talked to after I was done very politely. I said, "You wake up in the morning. There's many other jobs out here. This is disgusting."
Yeah, wow.
That is what I said to every single one of them.
But you know what it is? That's the way the shit is written on paper. You know, that's a protocol. That's a procedure to get the crap done. So, but you're not wrong, because by accepting that as a process, as a society, we're all saying that's okay, and it's not. So while you're talking to them directly because they're directly involved, the reality is you didn't know. Odds are they probably didn't know till they started working there, and they were already there, and they're probably like always getting that kind of talk. You're probably not the first, and you're probably not going to be the last, right? And that's the problem. The problem is that shit stays there, and it shouldn't, right? Like, yo, there's so many things that's wrong, and nobody ever cares, man.
That's
And
what I
it's
was
like,
trying to tell my family.
we gotta care. Like, you can't just let some random motherfuckers tell you what it is, because it's never gonna be good. It's bullshit.
A-Bit, will you? I don't want to give any spots up, but I'm taking a 1-trip flight to Tampa. Will you pick me up in the R8? Will you pick me up in the R8? Confirm or deny in the comments. Please confirm or deny. I need a ride. I actually need a ride. So if you have a regular car too, that'll work. You know what I mean? Well, but I'm like, because I can't get a rental car. I was going to drive there. I wanted to go to Miami. I wanted to go to a different couple places. So I was like, fuck it. I'll just drive. Because I like to do that sometimes. And it's taken me 6 fucking days. And I'm like, don't know whether I should get the plane ticket. Now I'm just getting a one-way plane ticket and saying, Hex, can help me. Hexicans, help me.
Right.
Sam's picking me up from the airport, though. It's going to be lit.
By the way, sorry, man. I forgot that I was still sharing my screen when I started just like surfing Twitter a bit. Fortunately, it was mainly just tweets from Motley Investor, so like nothing controversial.
I dumped it right away from the stream.
Perfect.
Oh, you're doing it, yeah. Yeah, A-Bit, awesome. I don't know. I won't pick you up. I'm still in Miami.
Shout out to A-Bit.
I'm going to Port Charlotte tomorrow too, dude. I'm going to Port Charlotte, A-Bit. That's what I'm saying. I'm just kidding. I don't know you that well. So it would actually be an OPSEC failure, the fact that you let me just jump in your car. So, but you're cool, and I appreciate all the work you do. It's really amazing, actually, watching all your stuff and seeing what you're doing with all the artwork, all the stickers, all the promo, all the stuff, everything with you're doing a lot of that behind the scenes work, and I think that stuff's really cool.
Yeah, the behind the scenes work is what nobody gets to see, and that's the shit that actually pumps the bags. This shit here is just informational. This doesn't necessarily pump the bag. This is what people come and search for after they've decided to pump the bag. Does that make sense? This is the last thing people latch onto when they've made a decision that they're gonna do anything with money. Nobody says, let me YouTube HEX and then go buy it. They buy the shit, then they go YouTube it. You know what I'm saying? That's a reality.
I bought it first.
Me too. I mean, it's only because, so I'll say this. I bought it because of a YouTube video, but I only learned after I bought it. So it's really the same thing. Because it's only because I knew Richard Hart that I bought it. I was like, oh, I remember this guy. He's smart as fuck, so I'm buying that. I remember that much. That's all I needed to know. After hearing what it did, I didn't need to know anything else. That was enough for me.
Hell yes.
Yep, pretty simple.
Oh, 96 likes. Fuck yeah.
Almost there.
Yeah, guys, come on, pump the likes. Four more likes. Not that I actually, I'm not gonna lie. I've stopped a couple before that point. My OCD's gotten better since I've gotten used to streaming, so it has been a little bit better to because I just see that 100 number and I'm like, if it's not there, I just get fucking. It makes me feel uncomfortable. I just don't, because when I'm trying to grow the channel, but like also at the same time, it's like I'm also just working on other stuff. That's really what happens when you start doing content for HEX. You just work on other stuff too in the background, right? This is just for fun, like mainly, but like
100, hit the 100. It's 100.
That's alpha right there.
That was psycho.
Yeah, you guys are psychopaths, dude. This
That
is
was
sick.
psycho.
My words mean something.
You're stupid.
Damn.
I can make humans move. Isn't that funny though? Like I can somehow make humans click one button now. My life is complete.
Please click that button.
Your superpower. Your
All right.
superpower is to
Guys,
get
I
people to
can
click
make
the
people
button.
across the world grab
Click.
their mouse and click a button. Guys.
Imagine that.
And then YouTube somehow says, "Good job," right before they dump your channel. And then
Thanks for playing. See you next time.
Or it's like you going into a kid's room and just like kicking the shit out of like whatever they've been building. Start again.
Yep.
They just delete your channel. Like, start again.
That shit is super funny, bro.
Thank you so much, guys, for coming on the stream and just dropping your wisdom for free and absolutely being animals, entrepreneurs, and just absolute savages in your regular lives.
Thanks for having us, man.
Yeah.
I always really enjoy being on these streams.
Hey, we talk about real stuff with real people, about real things that are going on. We like to pull up charts here. We like to look at numbers. We like to make sure the information we're giving people is correct, because then down the line, people won't call me a freaking loser. All righty, guys. Have a wonderful day.
Peace.
Hit the
Peace.
sub and do all that stuff.
Down the line, people won't call me a